and Jason Crump. Today, Speedway's World Cup reaches its climax. Riders, start your engines.
Welcome to the East of England Showground near Peterborough. Despite Team Great Britain being knocked out in Thursday's race-off, a big crowd has turned out to see one of Speedway's greatest events. This is the Speedway World Cup. Defending champions Australia take on the best five-man teams from Sweden, Poland, the Czech Republic and Denmark. It's a clash of the giants. Hello and welcome to Trackside here live at Peterborough for the culmination. 12 nations took part early on in the week, down to 5 for tonight's final. And with me to discuss the ins and outs of today's meeting, Samo Malenko and Chris Louis. I've got to say, gentlemen, this is really going to be a great night, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got such a packed stands at the moment. The atmosphere is just brewing right now with Australians being the favorites, but it's really hard to pick who's going to get last.
Well, Chris, I mean, it's the biggest crowd we've seen here all week. The race-off we thought would have a lot of people in here because of Team Great Britain taking part, but a big crowd here now, 4-mile tailbacks outside, and quite an early start as well.
It is, yeah. I mean, World Cup fever's hit home here, big style. Considering Great Britain aren't here, then this crowd is amazing, and I think they're going to be in for a thrilling night too.
Well, we've no axe to grind whatsoever here, so let's take a look at the teams that will be taking part tonight because, of course, with no Team Great Britain and no Team America, the Australians are the favourites. There are no doubt about that. They started the week off in Sheffield as favourites. Team Great Britain, I think it was Jason Crump who said, gave the Australians a good kick up the backside. And really, as they come here, I think one of the features of this particular World Cup final have to be, gentlemen, that the Australians, in fact, the three-seeded teams, the Poles, haven't had a go at this track. The race-off guys, Denmark and the Czechs, have all had a go round here in race conditions. Will that make a big difference?
Well, it's because of the practice being rained off, definitely. I think these guys are all professional enough to know how to set things up, especially the Australians. I mean, Ryan Sullivan races here, and Jason Crump's got a season here. Is that right, Chris? I mean, these guys they're pumped, and they know what they're doing, don't they?
Yeah, Poland have got Piotr Protasiewicz, who's a home guy, so you know they've got experience in their team, so they're not going to miss it too much.
Well, it's been a great 4 nights racing in the World Cup so far, culminating in tonight. Let's remind ourselves of what has happened over the last week. Day 1 of the Speedway World Cup saw a determined Team Great Britain make the best possible start, leading the defending champions Australia until masterful team management saw the joker played at a crucial time, Ryan Sullivan taking maximum points. Mark Laram crashed heavily in atrocious conditions. The meeting was abandoned after 20 heats, and with the Australians leading, they were confirmed the Event 1 winners. Day 2 saw the Grand Prix world champion Tony Rickardsson score maximum points, leading the Swedish team to emphatic victory to join the Australians in the final. Day 3, the USA and Poland battled for the final automatic place. Jaroslaw Hampel was the star of the Polish team as they outscored the Americans to go through. Day 4 was the race-off. Again, the conditions made racing impossible and dangerous. The event ended early, leaving the Czech Republic clear and Denmark outscoring the USA on race wins to secure the final place. Here is the Australian team. Let's take a look then as they officially line up tonight. In the red helmets will be Team Australia, Todd Wiltshire, Jason Lyons, Leigh Adams is team captain, Jason Crump and Ryan Sullivan. What a formidable team that is. Close on their heels, though, as far as the betting's concerned anyway, is Team Sweden. And it don't get much better than this either. Tony Rickardsson is the current Speedway Grand Prix world champion. He's the man who leads the World Championship at this moment in time as well. And we can tell you that they line up like this. In the yellow helmets, Rickardsson, the team captain, Niklas Klingberg, Peter Karlsson, Mikael Karlsson and Stefan Andersson. They are the 5 top men from Sweden. Now then, Team Poland, Tomasz Gollob, what's he capable of? Blue helmets, Peter Protasiewicz rides under the number 1, Tomasz Gollob, the team captain on 2, Krzysztof Cegielski, Jaroslaw Hampel, who was brilliant the other night, and Grzegorz Walasek. They are out in the blue helmets. Let's take a look then at the other qualifiers from the race-off, the Czech Republic. And riding in the green helmets, Lukas Dryml, Tomas Topinka, Lukas Dryml, Bohumil Brhel and Antonin Kasper, the team captain. All out in the green helmets. That's the Czechs from Thursday's race-off. Denmark, they had to wait a long time before the jury made the decision that they'd got more race wins than the USA. Despite having equal points in Thursday's race-off, they go through in the white helmets. Nicki Pedersen, the man we saw climbing the fence fairly hard, is their team captain. Ronni Pedersen, Charlie Gjedde, Hans Andersen and Bjarne Pedersen are the 5 from Denmark. Well, there's not a spare seat here at the East of England Showground for tonight's final, despite the host nation, Team Great Britain, not riding today. And I think that says it all as far as Speedway is concerned in this country. There's no doubt about it. Britain really is the home of Speedway at the moment, it would seem to me, Sam.
Yeah, it's the build-up is just incredible. This whole week of racing, I mean, the fans, maybe they've saved up for this one event to see what was going to happen, whether England was going to make it or not. They just know they're going to see quality racing in it. And this track has proven to be a bit dangerous maybe for 5 riders, but the way it went on the playoffs, they all seem to come through it pretty much well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, this whole World Cup format has proved a huge success. I mean, every team that's qualified for this meeting tonight has earned their place to be here, whether they've raced against track conditions or the other teams. They've all earned to be here.
Yeah.
Speedway is, of course, traditionally a team event, and I think with the kind of quality that we've had in this week, 12 nations. I mean, some riders we've never seen before, and some of this, actually surprised us with their rides. Some from Russia, some from Slovenia. We had good rides. Hungary as well. Sadly not getting through to the stage that we're at the moment, but it has been a great overall event.
Everybody knows what it's all about at international levels. They bring their best equipment to the racetrack. You know, they've done their practice and they've set up the best they can. They go out there and they get a chance to let the clutch out as quick as anybody. And that's where you can see the quality from different riders.
Well, one man who may find himself a little bit under pressure at the moment is the Australian team captain, Leigh Adams. He's with Jonathan. Jonathan, what's the tension like down there at this moment in time? Leigh looks serious.
Yeah, as you can imagine, the tension is high. The Aussies have had a week off, and I just wonder, is that going to be a problem, or is that put you at ease?
Well, I guess we got some track specialists here, Ryan and Jason. You know, Ryan's fantastic around here, and Jason used to race here, but you know, we're not taking anything for granted. Look what happened Sunday. You know, the English guys really crept up and surprised us, so we'll see what happens.
You won it last year, but I get the feeling, looking down the pit lane, that you've got an even tougher competition tonight. It really is going to be very hard.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough. I just hope, you know, all the boys feel good, so we just don't want to take anything for granted, really, and just screw it on.
I think it's going to be a great night either way, though, yeah?
Let's hope so.
Best of luck. Back to you, Keith.
Thanks, Jonathan. Have a busy night down there. We'll be with you in just a little while, of course, for racing. But first of all, very quickly, give us a prediction, Chris Louis and Sam Ermolenko. Who's going to win it tonight?
Well, Sweden are missing Andreas Jonsson, and they are going to miss him, but I'm going to go with Sweden.
Right, I'm going to go with Australia, the favourites, but I still think it's going to be a tough one for them.
I'm going to go for Poland, and we're going to go somewhere else completely now because Kelvin Tatum is at trackside, and so is Tony Millard. This is going to be a great night, boys.
A great night indeed, one packed with tension in front of a very full East of England Showground. The line-up for heat number 1 on the inside in the green helmet colours goes Alex Dryml, 13 points from Thursday's meeting for him. Gate 2, Nicki Pedersen for Denmark, 20 points in the 2 meetings. Gate 3, Piotr Protasiewicz for Poland in blue, the 96th World Under-21 champion. Gate 3, they hardly come better than Tony Rickardsson. On the outside is Todd Wiltshire. A couple of riders moving back for the tapes. Piotr Protasiewicz in blue and the man in red, Todd Wiltshire. There is Piotr Protasiewicz. Home on this track, certainly indeed. Kelvin Tatum's alongside me. There's the Czech, Alex Dryml. He could have a part to play.
Certainly will do. He rode very well here on Thursday night, and that inside start worked very well all evening. And I can't see that it'll be much different here tonight.
Our starting marshal gets the midline. The referee tonight is Marek Wojciech, who comes from Katowice in Poland. He's looking down from above. Away goes the starting marshal. Up by the tapes, away on the inside in green goes Alex Dryml to pick it up. In second place in white there for the Danes is Nicki Pedersen. Moving through now into second place in red. A great ride by Todd Wiltshire. Right to the back in blue. Piotr Protasiewicz on his home track, a disappointment. But a real flyer for the tapes for Alex Dryml.
Superstar from Alex Dryml really made that gate 1 pay. Great first corner from Todd Wiltshire, where he cut back up the inside and forced through into second place and knocked the reigning World Championship leader out of the way, Tony Rickardsson. But Dryml looks good out front now.
Yes, Dryml with half the race gone now. The track conditions very wet, but I can tell you, sunshine is about to hit this East of England Showground. Conditions could be much better better from now on. A bit processional this one, with a lap and a quarter to go. Alice Dryml for the Czech Republic in green leads, going into the final lap. Todd Wiltshire for Australia in second place. White in third is Nicki Pedersen. In yellow in fourth place, Tony Rickardsson, the world champion. And right at the back is Peter Protasiewicz. Not what we would have picked, but a brilliant ride by this man to take the checkered flag in the green helmet colours. Alice Dryml. Second in red for Australia is Todd Wiltshire. Third in white for Denmark. That's Nicki Pedersen. And Tony Rickardsson, a surprise fourth place to him. Remember tonight, the points, as the graphic will show you on our screen in a moment, go 4-3-2-1 from first place downwards, which means the result of Heat 1 shows for the Czech Republic, Alice Dryml 4 points, Australia's Todd Wiltshire 3, for Denmark, Nicki Pedersen 2, and for Sweden, Tony Rickardsson just 1. The progressive scoreline, of course, identical to that with one heat gone. It will build up as we go. The Czech Republic in front of Australia, Denmark, Sweden and Poland yet to get off the mark.
Here we see it again. Tony Rickardsson off the start actually makes a great start from gate 4 position. Makes it pretty well in front of Protasiewicz there on that gate 3. But on the inside at any moment now we're going to see Alice Dryml in the green helmet colour come into picture. Rickardsson sort of caught in no man's land there. There comes Nicki Pedersen, nearly takes his front wheel away from him. He does very well just to stay up. Todd Wiltshire now takes the opportunity to sneak up the inside, actually clouts Nicki Pedersen as they come off the first corner, and they settle down from there on.
Well, Jonathan Green is with the race winner in the pits.
Yeah, Alice Dryml, that's just the start that you needed, and it's so important to get out early, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, I chose the number 1 because I knew the gate 1 will be perfect, you know, so I thought I can, you know, get the Czech team running, so I did. Hopefully it will end up good. We'll see.
Listen, I know that in the camp, basically the feeling is that you know how strong the Swedes are, you know how strong the Aussies are, and Poland have done it so many times before. But surely, after Thursday night, you guys are right in there.
Yeah, I think we can make a few troubles to the good guys, and I think we can up, you know, and not just last, maybe third, maybe fourth. We will go for it and we'll see.
I don't have to remind you what your father achieved in this sport. Are you trying to follow in his footsteps?
Of course.
That's what I wanted to hear. Back to you guys.
Well, here we're waiting a referee's decision because he believes that Todd Wiltshire may have gone inside the infield. But at the moment, anyway, it's Wiltshire's first defeat in the World Cup this year, and also the first defeat for Tony Rickardsson in the World Cup this year. Surprises come straight from the start, Kelvin.
Yeah, conditions had something to play in that part. It was very wet and slimy in Heat 1, but Todd Wiltshire, as he came out of the second corner on the first lap, certainly his rear tyre did touch the white line. Whether it actually crossed it or not is certainly we need to see the replay to confirm that. Here we'll see it again now. Dryml in front. There we see Nicki Pedersen in second place. Todd Wiltshire at this moment in time creeps up the inside, but just there he goes. And I don't believe that his rear wheel actually did cross the line. So it could well be that the result will stand from Heat 1, Tony.
Well, our referee, Marek Wojciech, the pole here tonight from Katowice, he saw the replay with you, and I believe that Todd Wiltshire was quite okay. Remember, both wheels have to go off the track for any form of disqualification. Nevertheless, Todd Wiltshire's first defeat in the World Cup this year, first defeat for Tony Rickardsson too, and Jason Crump holds that record of going through the World Cup last year unbeaten. As we move on now to heat number 2, you see the lineup top side of your screen. An unbelievable crowd, Kelvin. They're going to enjoy it, aren't they?
Superb attendance here tonight. Just shows you the strength of Speedway support in this country at the moment. Great Britain aren't here, but they've absolutely come in their droves here this evening, and it's fantastic to see such a well-supported event in this country.
I wonder, Kelvin, if any other country wasn't in the final, it was held in their country, they'd have this many people there.
I think it unlikely. We saw last year in Poland when the qualifying rounds, there was hardly anybody in the stadium at all. It was only when Poland actually turned up that they actually came out to support their own team.
Well, a chance now to look at the lineup, heat number 2. The man in blue coming up there is Tomasz Gollob. They don't come much bigger than he. Tomasz Gollob, 5 times a Polish champion. He's the man in the blue helmet colours. Remember, Poland wearing blue throughout. The lineup on your screen for the Czech Republic. That's heat 1 we have on your screen, I'm afraid. But we can give you the lineup here. In red on the inside, it's Jason Lyons for Australia. In blue, Tomasz Gollob goes from gate 2 for Poland. Gate 3 is Ronni Pedersen from Denmark in white. Gate 4, Niklas Klingberg for Sweden. You see it coming up on your screen for heat number 2. Jason Lyons on the inside, Tomasz Gollob gate 2, Ronni Pedersen gate 3, Niklas Klingberg for Sweden gate 4, 7 points of pull for him. Tomas Topinka, 7 points here on Thursday for the Czech Republic as the man in the green helmet colours. He goes from the outside. Anybody's race here, Kelvin?
Well, I would be interested to see what Gollob does off gate 2 here. The Australians are on the inside, and the Danish rider there, Ronni Pedersen, in gate 3, that hasn't been favourable so far in this 5-rider format.
Oh, and straight into the takes first. For my money goes Jason Lyons, who will have to be the man excluded here. Remember, with FIM regulations, and the referee has immediately excluded the rider in red, Jason Lyons. The referee has immediately excluded Jason Lyons, the man in red, as the cause of the stoppage.
There we see it now. He'll jump any second now. Yeah, he was just impatient, a little bit nervous probably. He just felt that he needed to get away cleanly, but certainly that is a big blow for Australia, because the inside start that we saw in Heat 1 has been working really well. And to be perfectly honest, he didn't need to do that really there. He's blown his best start for the night, no question about it.
Yes, well, Jason Lyons struggling in the World Cup, just 3 points at Sheffield on Sunday, Kelvin, and a start like that is not really what he or Australia wanted.
No, and it's very competitive tonight, and certainly Tomasz Gollob would be very happy about that, because he's got an opportunity to get out the start in gate 2 and get away.
Well, Jonathan Green in the pits won't be far away from Jason Lyons.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he'll want to talk to me, but Jason, if I can grab you real quick, what happened there?
Just a bit eager, you know. Want a medical gun? Bugging it.
Well, you'll bounce back, right, though?
Yep, you bet.
All right, well, he's not in the mood really to talk at the moment, but as you heard there, just a little bit too eager. But, hey, makes it interesting in terms of how the Australians are going to approach this whole night, though. They really are under pressure right from the get-go. Back to you.
Well, yes, indeed. Of course, we can all speculate who's going to win. For my money, it's between the Australians perhaps and the Poles here, but who knows, the Danes can spring a surprise. And Kelvin Tatum, this is going to give the Poles a little bit of a flyer here, because...
No, it's an opportunity for Tomasz Gollob of gate 2 here, Tony, to get a nice clean run, because certainly the inside start is the best earlier on here, particularly when conditions are wet like they are this evening, and it'll give you the opportunity for Thomas to be able to enter that first corner without anybody squeezing him up as he goes around the first turn.
And of course a bit more room on the track for all 4 riders here. A reminder, here at Peterborough we have the air fence around the bends, but the starts haven't been a problem, or weren't a problem here on Thursday, despite again pretty poor track conditions. But Tomasz Gollob has space here. He has outside him Ronni Pedersen, Niklas Klingberg and Tomas Topinka, and Topinka has changed his bike in between that full start and now, and I just wonder what he would have thought about that, Kelvin.
Well, he may have got away and felt the conditions were different from what he was expecting, and maybe he felt that the second bike would do a better job in these slippery conditions early on.
Well, we'll have to see. Danger of being squeezed into the fence for the man on the outside, but it's not going to happen, I'm sure, right now. The man in green won the first heat. Could he do it again? A flyer from Tomasz Gollob up the inside for Poland in blue. The man in white in second place is Ronni Pedersen, who races well on this track. Moving through in yellow there for Sweden is Niklas Klingberg. And Klingberg goes through on the inside, but down comes Ronni Pedersen. And our referee will probably have to stop it, and has again, with Ronni Pedersen going down. And that I'm sure our referee will want to see again, because Ronni Pedersen was in second place. Niklas Klingberg was challenging for that position. Tomasz Gollob was out in front, and the referee will have to decide whether that man was brought down.
Yeah, here we'll see it again. Ronni Pedersen, as Klingberg enters there, he's just he just about got half his bike in front of Ronni Pedersen, and then Pedersen seemed to react to try and lean on him. They clashed as they went down. The track conditions are slippery, and his left leg was taken from him, and down he went. But White has been excluded, as we've just heard from the referee, so he's seen it that Pedersen probably reacted too late to the pass from the Swede as he entered that third corner on the first lap.
Well, as they say, then there were 3, 5, 4, and now down to 3, like the 10 green bottles. But certainly going in this one now, excluded already Ronni Pedersen, excluded Jason Lyons, and points are plenty now at issue for Tomasz Gollob of Poland in blue, Niklas Klingberg of Sweden in yellow, and Tomas Topinka in green. But I'm sure that Ronni Pedersen won't be too pleased with that, and certainly discussions there. I don't think he feels that he was to blame, Kelvin.
No, he won't do. He'll feel that he was hard done by, but it was one of those situations where the referee saw that he may have reacted slightly too late. Klingberg did get his wheels in line early coming off the first turn, got a lot of speed, and was in front of him as they entered that turn.
Well, Ollie Olsen, the race director, has gone out on the track to speak to somebody at the instigation, it seems, of Jason Crump. The Australian has drawn Ollie's attention to something there, and I'm just wondering what the discussion is, and I'm sure that our man Jonathan Green will be down there, and will certainly be the first to find out. But Ollie Olsen here, and I have to say, Kelvin, with the race director from Denmark, he's bound to protest about that, perhaps.
Well, I don't want to get too involved in that sort of thing. We've had a lot of that on Thursday, suggesting that Ollie wouldn't do the track for the English, but but Jonathan actually may have a clearer idea of exactly what Jason Crump was talking to Ollie Olsen about.
Right, well, down to Jonathan Green. He's in the know, down by the pits.
Yeah, I'm actually on the track, and the problem is, as you heard, Jason Crump was actually talking to Ollie Olsen, and the problem he's got is just at the end of the second corner here, just over here, as you can see. His problem is, as you know here, the rules are that basically you can put the front wheel over the line, but not the back wheel, obviously, over that white line. But it's being skew-whiffed here somewhat by the tractor that's gone over there, and actually created quite a dent in there, and that was Jason's sort of query there, and he says it's a bit of a problem for the riders. And Jason, of all people, is very careful and very conscientious about what he's doing and what the other riders are doing. So basically, if he's got a problem, he had a time to, there's a bit of a lull, obviously, while there's the crash with Ronni Pedersen. So he basically wants to make sure that this track is in perfect condition, obviously, for this final. So not a big major issue, but I think Jason Crump just being very careful to make sure that his riders get there. But again, it's another example. The Aussies are under pressure. Back to you.
I think everybody's under pressure, Greenie. We've yet to start. Well, a third start's got to happen for heat number 2 now. Busy time in the pits here, Kelvin. And will these nerves sort themselves out, do you think?
Well, possibly, Tony. I think that it's a scenario where that, you know, regarding the white line there, obviously there's some problems there with the tractor running over, so it's a little bit indistinct as you come out of that corner. But certainly for the riders that have been excluded in this race so far, they'll be bitterly disappointed because they haven't been able to really settle down on the track and get a grasp of conditions, because, you know, it has been raining a lot over the last couple of days in this part of the country, and, you know, particularly for Jason Lyons, he'll feel particularly disappointed because he had an opportunity there off the inside to really get 4 points on the board for his team, and now he's just sitting in the pits having to watch this one.
Well, there's the conditions. We've just seen a bit of track grading going on, Kelvin, but that start will be, well, there'll be nobody on the inside for this, so it looks pretty all right in the middle. Yeah,
it's not too bad, and I think that they've done a little bit of track grading, but certainly Tomasz Gollob benefited from not having a rider on the inside of him. And this guy on the outside, maybe he'll just have a little bit more room. Tomas Topinka coming up, but there we are, Cegielski and Tomasz Gollob just having a little bit of a chat before he goes out on the track.
Well, as we move on now to heat number 2, remember, just 3 riders. That man, Tomasz Gollob, will be in the blue helmet colour. The man in green there, Tomas Topinka, he goes from the outside. Remember, he scored 7 points here for the Czech Republic on Thursday. He's assured if he finishes at least 2 in this heat to set the Czech Republic underway. Remember, at the moment, the Czechs have 4 points from their efforts in the very first heat. And
sorry to interrupt, Tony, but we do have a red light flashing at the moment, and it was Tomasz Gollob actually rode back into the pits. I don't know, we seem to have another hold up here, I'm not quite sure why. It is, I'm sorry, I don't know why it is, but I did Tomasz Gollob, I thought he was riding out onto the track, but he actually turned around and rode back into his pit area, so there is a slight problem somewhere, and we're going to have to wait for the referee or the clerk of the course to give us some information.
Well, it looks to me as if it was by accident, because he seems to turn them off now, waiting for the riders to come out.
Oh, well.
That is our referee. He's down on the track. That's why the red light was going. That's Mr. Marek Wojciech, the pole, and he's gone down to have a look at that. And obviously, all the teams are worried about back wheels going on the grass in that corner. They don't have to go on the grass, of course, because the tractor's already been there and almost taken the grass away. But that is Mr. Wojciech. It will take a time for him to get back to the box.
Yeah, I'm sure it will do. Just give him a couple of minutes to get back. Here he is. He's just starting to run across the track now. But it is one of the tracks in the British League here where they don't have a curb on the inside, Tony.
Well, Jonathan Green is in the pits with Jakob Olsen, the Danish team manager.
Well, as you know, Denmark have been in the wars this week, and once again, we're early on, and Jakob's with me again. But 2 things, Ronnie going down and how you felt about that, and also what the controversy is on turn 2.
Well, I mean, of course, it was a close corner with Ronnie, you know, and I think, I mean, that was the right decision by the referee. It was close, but he went down, so I can't complain about that. But it's so easy to see down from here that the riders are crossing the grass going out of the corner. And there's just a mark, if you go out there and have a look, there's just a straight line where riders just gone right through it.
But the front wheel is allowed to go across, right?
I know, but it's the back wheel too going straight through.
And that is cheating.
Well, even, I mean, Jason Crump came up and said to me that there was a rider going straight through there. So I know it's difficult for the referee to see there, but it's the inside line at the moment. So maybe later in the race they'll be on the fence, so we don't have a problem.
You've got a tough job because obviously things like this are going to happen all night. It's the biggest event in the world tonight. Everybody's going to have a complaint about something. You've got to keep your guys together, right?
Yeah, we're going to keep them together. We're going for it. I mean, everything more than the 4th place we're going to be happy with. We're happy to be in the final. If we get a medal, we're very, very happy. But I mean, it's not to, I think we'll all get on our toes. It's not to sort of cheat and be after people and get them out, you know. I just think it's got to be a fair go for everyone. So, but then the referee made a good point. He said the flag referee's got to watch it a bit more down there. So, I mean, that's probably fair enough. So let's see what happens now.
Thanks, Jacob. Everybody's on their toes, including the referee. Back to you.
Well, the referee's not only on his toes, we saw him running all the way across the centre green. And he's
well, not quite all the way. He did, I think, for about 2 strides and then thought better of it.
He's up in the box about 10 feet away from us, is Alek Wojciech, the referee from Poland. And he's got to be very, very careful what decisions he makes here tonight, I'm sure. And the nerve ends are fraying for team managers and riders alike. And certainly after the controversy of Thursday with the points and calculating things like race wins, etc. There's a few things at issue here tonight, but well, we're just about to get underway now with the rerun of heat number 2, and that man is Tomasz Gollob in the blue helmet colours, the 5 times Polish champion, and all teams, Kelvin, under just a little bit of tension.
Well, certainly in the opening rides, all the riders particularly, you know, you're desperate to get your first ride out of the way, so you get into the meeting, you get those that tension out of your arms and get into the racing mode. And certainly with all this sort of delay, the guys that are coming up in heats 3 to 5, they won't want this sort of delay.
As we look at heat number 2 now, a chance to look at the riders across the tates. Remember, the inside gate 3, Jason Lyons excluded. Tomasz Gollob on his own there from gate 2 in the blue helmet colours for Poland. A blank space for the absent Ronni Pedersen, gate 3. Niklas Klingberg for Sweden is gate 4. On the outside, tightly packed there, Tomas Topinka from the Czech Republic. That's the lineup. The second restart of heat number 2. Referee Alek Wojciech will have his finger on the button here. Down on the track, he knows the conditions, he knows the problems the riders now have to contend with. 4 laps coming up heat 2. Away we go on the inside. Tomasz Gollob has plenty of space in yellow. Giving him a race is Niklas Klingberg. At the back in green, that's Tomas Topinka. Remember, the poles in blue. In yellow, it's Sweden throughout the meeting. In green, that's the Czech Republic. That's her guy here now. Gollob in front. In second place is Klingberg. Third now is Topinka, and they seem to be riding with some care, Kelvin.
Yeah, there's no incident so far in this race. Pretty much straightforward first lap there. Gollob got away, came under a little bit of pressure from Klingberg, but he's held the inside line, and at the moment it's 1, 2, 3, and no fireworks flying at the moment.
Tomasz Gollob down the back straight, having time to look back with some comfort here. The 4 points here would be valuable to the Poles. Remember, they were scoreless in the first outing. The Australians admitted from this now. So too are the Danes, but into second place there in yellow. Necessary points too coming for Sweden. Tomas Topinka at the back. The 2 points here will be enough to keep the Czech Republic in the lead with 2 heats gone. But Tomasz Gollob in the blue helmet colours wins it. Well, I think only just, but I think Gollob got that. But he nearly had a real surprise from the man in yellow, Niklas Klingberg, and Tomas Topinka third in green. But for my money, desperately close. But I think it was Gollob getting it. Tomasz Gollob on the line just.
He just got caught out a little bit coming out of that last corner. Just spun up on the slick stuff, and Klingberg went for a slightly wider line. And there was only half a wheel in it on the line there, which for 3 3/4 laps looked like a very standard sort of race, but a bit of excitement right at the end.
Well, it certainly is. The fans try to mark their programmes. Our referee has to make up his mind on declaring that result. It looked pretty conclusive to us that Tomasz Gollob got there in the end, and the official result gives it to Tomasz Gollob 4 race points for Poland. For Sweden, 3 race points, Niklas Klingberg. Tomas Topinka's third place gains him 2. He didn't have to beat anybody, with the Danes and the Australians excluded. Which means progressory, the Czechs in front on 6, Sweden second, jointly with Poland on 4, Australia 3 and Denmark 2. A busy meeting underway here, and now the riders already out for heat number 3. Drops of rain starting to fall from the sky here. There'll only be a shower looking out behind me of the weather. That man in red is Leigh Adams, 6 times the Australian champion. And he here goes from the inside gate in red, and that will favour him. I think Leigh Adams will like the inside gate, Kelvin.
Well, it certainly will do. It's worked very well so far in both of the meetings we've seen here at the East of England Showground. He won't want to make the same mistake that Jason Lyons did. He desperately needs to take some points for his country in this race.
25 heats in total, remember. The 5 countries taking part wear the same helmet colours throughout. Of course, the gate positions rotate. Coming up to tapes there now, we can look at the lineup. Leigh Adams for Australia on the inside. Lukas Dryml in green goes to the Czech Republic. He's on gate 2. Piotr Karlsson for Sweden in yellow gate 3. Krzysztof Cegielski for Poland in blue gate 4. And Charlie Gjedde, the young Dane, goes from the outside. They wear the white helmet colours throughout the meeting. Just follow the helmet colours and you follow the nations here. big Peterborough track here, 336 metres, and the track record holder Ron Sullivan will be seeing out here in heat number 5. This heat number 3 at the moment, the Czechs in front and going well.
Another tremendous lineup in this race, and Peter Karlsson there just getting the fog out of his goggles, but Tomasz Cegielski here, he looked so good at Eastbourne on Tuesday night. He looked very fast indeed, and Lukas Dryml also on Thursday here just a couple of days ago was very impressive for the Czech Republic. Great heating store here.
Great heating store as our starting marshal gets them into line. A little bit more difficult than 4 riders, but he has to place 5. He's satisfied now. Green lights on. Up by the tapes and away they go. And a great start on the inside for Leigh Adams. Moving in behind him in yellow there and working well is Peter Karlsson, but coming through very rapidly, young Charlie Gjedde. And in 3rd place in yellow is Peter Karlsson. Surprising at the back, Lukas Dryml, but he now moves into 4th place to relegate the pole. Krzysztof Cegielski to last. But what a start by Leigh Adams.
Fantastic getaway from Leigh Adams, real class. Nice clean sweep around the inside on the first turn. Great move by Gjedde, but Peter Karlsson's now moved through into 2nd place. Lukas Dryml back in 4th. Surprisingly, the pole right at the back.
Leigh Adams, it is in front there, as you see on your screen. They're now stretching out behind him because the man in yellow in 2nd place, that's Peter Karlsson. A big gap now to Charlie Gjedde in 3rd. Lukas Dryml in 4th place with some comfort now. And the surprise for me is Krzysztof Cegielski right at the back as they stretch out now round the final lap. Half a lap to go for Leigh Adams, but those guys are battling for the minor places in white there. Certainly Charlie Gjedde looks set for 3rd place, but the winner, no doubt about it, in red is Leigh Adams. 2nd place in yellow goes to Peter Karlsson. The man in white for Denmark in 3rd place is Charlie Gjedde, and certainly Lukas Dryml getting 4th place. And I just wonder what really happened there. The man in the blue helmet colours for Poland, Krzysztof Cegielski, desperately disappointing for him. But 3 heats gone now. Anybody's meeting, but Australia have won their first race of the night. 4 race points there for Leigh Adams. Peter Karlsson for Sweden 2nd, 3 race points. Denmark's Charlie Gjedde 2. Lukas Dryml for the Czech Republic 1. Poland, a disappointing result there after Gollob's success in the previous heat. Progressively now with 3 heats gone. Australia share the lead with Sweden on 7, and the Czech Republic is desperately tight at the top. Poland and Denmark have 4 points apiece. Still, anybody's meeting with 3 heats gone.
Just what the Australian team needed here. A real classy performance from Leigh Adams. Made use of that inside start. Clean getaway there. He's already 2 bike lengths up as he enters that first corner. Great first corner from the Danish rider there, Charlie Gjedde. Finds a bit of grip to get round the outside of Lukas Dryml and Peter Karlsson, but he doesn't stay there. He doesn't quite have the pace to keep up with the boys in front of him. There we see Lukas Dryml diving inside him, but Gjedde gets back the better of him as they enter the next corner. And very surprising, Krzysztof Cegielski at the back there. He had so much speed at Eastbourne.
Jonathan Green is with our heat winner in the pits.
Yeah, my first question to Leigh is how are the conditions out there?
They're not ideal, you know, but I think they're going to get better. Once the dirt seems to get turned over, I think it's going to make a lot of dirt, a lot of material, and you know, we're going to be up pretty high by the end of the night, I think.
It's an important one for you. You guys needed one on the board, didn't you?
Yeah, without a doubt, Jason, you know, he's just very nervous, but you know, it's not over. We've got a long way to go, and we've got some great riders here that like Peterborough, so fingers crossed.
It's the beauty of the format. There's plenty of time to get it right.
Yeah, we got that joker in hand if things get really bad.
All right, fair enough.
Not a problem. Thanks, mate.
Back to you guys.
Time for heat number 4 now as we move on with this meeting. Still anybody's meeting here now. The lineup there, the man in white, that's Hans Andersen, the pool rider who got 11 points at pool for Denmark in the round down there. That, of course, on Monday night. The man in yellow and black there is Mikael Karlsson, the best average holder in the Elite League at the moment here in Britain. We look across the lineup. Jaroslaw Hampel goes to the inside for Poland in blue. Gate 2 there is Bohumil Brhel, top scorer at Sheffield for the Czech Republic. He's in green. Gate 3, Mikael Karlsson. Gate 4 is Jason Crump for Australia, unbeaten in the World Cup last year. Hans Andersen goes for Denmark on the outside gate, the pool rider. And certainly with 11 points of pool in impressive form in the World Cup so far. Another good race in prospect, Kelvin.
Certainly have. This is some big hitters coming out for Australia now. Leigh Adams winning the previous heat. Jason Crump coming out for his first ride. Knows his place inside out. Really enjoys riding here. This is going to be interesting to see how good he can come from the outside. Jaroslaw Hampel riding so well for the poles earlier in the week.
Yes, Jaroslaw Hampel very impressive down the Eastbourne. Again, they're in line. Remember, 5 riders, same helmet colours throughout. A referee holds them at tapes. The tapes nearly went there. Nearly flying into them was Hans Andersen. Andersen now is edged wide indeed by Brhel. How he stayed on, I do not know. But out front in blue, Jaroslaw Hampel riding just as he did in Eastbourne. Second place held by Mikael Karlsson. Moving into third place now, Brhel in green. In red in fourth is Jason Crump with work to do. And right at the back in white is Hans Andersen. But what a ride by Jaroslaw Hampel.
Yeah, Hampel picking up from where he left on Tuesday night. So good at Eastbourne. A great performance so far here in this race. Jason Crump missed the start, but he's battling away and he's putting Mikael Karlsson under a lot of pressure at the moment.
Yes, certainly wide out front is Jaroslaw Hampel, looking good for the poles now and looking them set perhaps for a World Cup title here. Back in second place, Mikael Karlsson for Sweden. He's now being put under pressure with a lap and a quarter to go by Jason Crump, who's making ground, has already gone past Brhel. Crump is on the hunt, and Crump in pursuit down the back straight there in the red helmet colours. Hampel, though, is way out front. Hampel sent for the checkered flag. Crump is still coming in third place. He will have to be content, but he certainly gets that third place behind the man in yellow, Mikael Karlsson, for Sweden. But the man in green takes fourth place, Brhel, after almost causing carnage on the first bend. But a good win by Jaroslaw Hampel there. And Jaroslaw Hampel in the blue helmet colours has started how he finished at Eastbourne, where he looked the most impressive rider for Poland, certainly on Tuesday night. Jaroslaw Hampel's 4 race points for Poland. For Sweden, Mikael Karlsson 3. For Australia, Jason Crump 2. And the Czech Republic's Brhel gets 1 point. The progressive totals now show Sweden in front on 10 points ahead of Australia 9, Poland 8, the Czech Republic 8 as well, and Denmark 4. The start was important. It was brilliant from Hampel.
Yep, Jason Crump just rolling there, and we will see him. He just missed it. He tried to anticipate it, but he did miss it, and Hans Andersen missed him. There we see him creeping forward. The Polish referee did hold the tapes a long time, but Hampel gets away nicely. Brhel then bumps Andersen out the way and then cuts straight back across in front of Jason Crump. Mikael Karlsson then slips into second place. Brhel tries to squeeze underneath of Mikael Karlsson as they enter the third turn, but then here we see Jason Crump now desperately trying to get back in the picture after making such a bad start, but he comes under a lot of pressure from Andersen, and then goes round the outside of Brhel and gets into that third place.
And Jaroslaw Hampel, the man of the moment, is with Jonathan Green in the pits.
Yeah, thanks very much. And Jaroslaw, you made it look easy, but it's quite slippy out and greasy out there, isn't it?
Yeah, the track is very wet right now, but I'm winning the start. You know, I have a gate number 1, and gate number 1 is very good right now. And then I race the first, and you know it's very good but raining right now, and it's not so good weather right now.
Yeah, well, let's hope it clears up for you. Best of luck for the rest of the night, and back to you guys.
Well, you can see the progressive totals across your screen with Sweden now currently in front, but it is a ding-dong battle, and each nation certainly have its chance of glory so far. The lineup now for heat number 5, and remember, Ron Sullivan goes for Australia here. He is the track record holder. In Australia, wear red throughout. He's bang in the middle of your picture there. Stefan Andersson goes for Sweden on the inside, the Eastbourne rider. For Denmark, Gate 2, man of the moment, Bjarne Pedersen, certainly on form in this World Cup so far. Gate 3, Ron Sullivan, the track record holder for Australia, a home rider here for Peterborough. Antonin Kasper, the veteran Czech. I think he's just won his 7th Czech championship, goes from gate 4, and on the outside, Grzegorz Walasek, recently so impressive, and certainly riding at number 5 for the Poles earlier in the week. Certainly proved their ace in the pack 4 times the same race and 4 times doing well.
Yeah, it's a good lineup again. It'll be very interesting to see what Ryan Sullivan can do from that gate 3 position.
Yes, I know Kelvin doesn't fancy it at the moment, nor does Ron Sullivan. He's in trouble, and Ron Sullivan goes right across the track, bundles into the man in blue, Grzegorz Walasek. Sullivan completely losing control, and I'm sure the referee will exclude him. I've never seen Ron Sullivan on this track do that. We'll have to look at the exclusion lights. Our referee may wish to see it again, but certainly that man there in blue, Grzegorz Walasek, wasn't at fault, and Ron Sullivan from gate 3 put him in trouble.
Here we see we're looking at Walasek on the outside, but now Ryan Sullivan seems to lift. He catches Bjarne Pedersen's handlebar. He's out of control and just takes the front wheel away from Walasek, and down he goes. He's left with absolutely nowhere to go, and
nowhere to go. Indeed, the referees put all 4 back in. That's a surprise, Kelvin.
Well, all 5 actually, Tony, but here we'll see it again. Ryan Sullivan lifting, bounces into Bjarne Pedersen, and then just takes the front wheel away from Walasek, and really is far wider than anybody else. Here we see it again. Bjarne Pedersen lifting, Now we'll see Ryan Sullivan all out of control, the front wheel wild out in the air, and then he just goes straight across in front of Walasek, and to be perfectly honest, that was quite generous from the referee to put all 5 riders back.
Let me put you on the spot, Kelvin. You're the referee, Mr. Wojciech. Would you have excluded him?
I think I would have had no option there, because certainly Ryan was out of control as he entered the first corner, and I would have said that he was the primary cause of the stoppage.
Well, Todd Wiltshire, one of the Australians, is with Jonathan Green pit side.
Yeah, we were just analysing that. Just wondered what your thoughts were on it, because it was a strange decision. Well, I won't say strange decision, but it was a strange moment. It's not often you see someone like Ryan going that far wide.
No, it's obviously, didn't mean to do that, but that's what first corner's all about. Anything can happen. There's 5 riders on a track that really is not designed for 5 riders, and things like that happen.
It's not been the perfect start for the boys, has it?
No, it's a classic. It's going to be a classic match tonight. I think it's we're struggling again. We've had an exclusion, and Jason and Crump, they're having a good third, so to speak, coming from the back. So it's a big hill to climb.
We were at the beginning of this, obviously beginning of the World Cup, worried about what it would be like here with 5 riders across here at Peterborough. We only had 1 crash on Thursday. Have you been surprised by that fact?
I certainly have. I expected to have more first incidents than we have had. We normally have more of this on normal league matches where there's only 4. But I think what's come into this is we're putting 5 riders in it. We've got really, every time we've got 5 of the best riders in the world on the start, so I think that's helping as well.
And it would be surprising if everybody else is given just a little bit more because of what it is.
Oh, certainly. That's what it's all about. It's for your country, and we all give 110.
All right, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Well, certainly we look for the restart of heat number 5 and a massive crowd here at the East of England Showground. And I have to say, with England not in it and the Americans missing, we expected the crowd not to be so great, but they've come here in their thousands, Kelvin.
Yeah, superb to see. It was a blow when England didn't qualify on Thursday night, and I for one thought that the crowd could have even been halved on the way home on Thursday, but certainly coming in here, people were milling around hours before the meeting started, and as we've got on with racing, the stands have filled, and that back stand there that is a temporary one for this weekend looks absolutely packed full, so terrific to see.
Well, minutes counting down for the restart of this. Remember, once the referee puts them on 2 minutes, they have 2 minutes to get around to tapes and be ready to start. We've already seen riders excluded in this World Cup for failing to make that time. That man in white is, of course, Bjarne Pedersen, top scorer on Monday for the Danes.
Riding brilliantly at the moment, isn't he, Tony? Coming in from the Premier League this last year, riding for Paul this year, seems to be really in top form at the moment.
Well, they seem to be bringing on the young riders well, Denmark. A chance for us to have a word about that. The British riders later, perhaps, Kelvin, because the Danes, we saw their team spirit here on Thursday. The young riders coming to the fore and progressing much more quickly, perhaps, than British riders.
Well, yeah, there is that argument that they seem to blood their young riders earlier than we do, and certainly so far this young Danish team have really been performing very well.
Well, they line up at tapes. It's Stefan Andersson for Sweden on the inside in yellow. Bjarne Pedersen, the man about whom we were speaking, goes from gate 2 in white. Gate 3 is Ryan Sullivan, perhaps the cause of the mayhem on that first bend, first time out. Gate 4, the Czech Republic, Antonin Kasper. Grzegorz Walasek goes from the outside for Poland in blue. Any rider almost of these 5 on current form could win this, and Ryan Sullivan, you normally expect to do so, but I know you have a feeling about gate 3 as being the more difficult one.
Yeah, very much so. It's right in the middle of the track. You tend to get squeezed as you go to the first corner. I think Ryan Sullivan didn't make a very good start. He got bumped by Bjarne Pedersen, then bashed into Walasek, and certainly we saw with Gary Havelock in Heat 1 on Thursday night, he suffered from a similar sort of fate.
Heat number 5. Remember, at the moment, very little in between the nations. Our referee looking down right along the start line. The start marshal there getting them into line. A busy man with 5 riders. He moves away. The tape held, but up they go. Up they fly. And certainly a fly for Stefan Andersson in front now. But round moves Ryan Sullivan in red. And on this track, it's surprising that 1 goes by him, 2 go by him. You don't normally see that of Ryan Sullivan at Peterborough. And the leader now is Stefan Andersson for Sweden. For Denmark, Bjarne Pedersen second place. Ryan Sullivan third in red. And back in blue is Grzegorz Walasek. Right at the back, Tony Kasper.
Well, Stefan Andersson got away nicely, but just drifted a little bit wide. Ryan Sullivan turned up the inside, got too much grip, lifted, nearly clouted the fence. But and then the Sweden, the Dane got by him. But Ryan Sullivan riding a fantastic corner there.
Right, the battle for second place there, of course. Ryan Sullivan moves through on the inside, round that pit bend, right through on the inside of Bjarne Pedersen. But still, Stefan Andersson picking his line on the track with a lap to go. And Stefan Andersson, a bit of a surprise packet, a late replacement, of course, for Andreas Jonsson in the Swedish side, but he is doing his part here to keep the Swedes in front, and Stefan Andersson is going to win this one with some comfort, and he does in the end. But Ron Sullivan gets through into second place in red, third place in white for the Danes, once again for Bjarne Pedersen, and Poland have to be content with fourth place in the blue helmet colours there for Grzegorz Walasek, and disappointment for the veteran Antonin Kasper in yellow for the Czech Republic. But a fantastic race that, a great start by Stefan Andersson, and when he got into the action, Ron Sullivan was doing his level best to catch up. Sweden, Stefan Andersson, 4 race points. Ron Sullivan for Australia, 3. Denmark's Bjarne Pedersen, 2. For Poland, Grzegorz Walasek got the consolation point in 4th place. Progressively now, Sweden in front by 2 points from Australia, who have 12. Poland on 9, the Czech Republic on 8. Denmark may be falling behind a little, but it's still anybody's meeting.
Here we see the start again. We're looking at the back of Ron Sullivan, but the two boys on the inside are neck and neck as they enter the first corner. Stefan Andersson just squeezes ahead of Bjarne Pedersen, but they leave a bit of a hole, and here comes Ron Sullivan. But as he does that, he lifts and momentarily loses control, gets too wide, it's slippery out there, and both the Swede and the Dane both charge back underneath Ron Sullivan, and we do see him ride brilliantly well to actually get back into second place. Here he is, forcing his way underneath Bjarne Pedersen as they enter the first corner later on in the race, and a very forceful move, but a fair one as it turned out. But a very good ride from Sullivan, but an even better one from Stefan Andersson.
Well, for me, that was a surprise win by Stefan Andersson, but it's enough to keep the Swedes in front. The crowd seem happy with the entertainment. Plenty more action coming up after the break.
Welcome back to the East of England Showground. This is the Speedway World Cup final, and after 5 races, Sweden lead, 14 points to them. Australia the favourites, 12 points and fighting back. Poland are on 9, the Czech Republic 8, and Denmark are on 6 points. Well, that's how it looks at the moment. We'll go back now live trackside to Kelvin Tatum and Tony Millard in the commentary position.
The amazing stats show that Sweden have won just 1 heat individually, Kelvin, but that's enough to keep them right in front.
Well, they've just been that little bit more consistent than the other teams, and we've just seen somebody changing bikes there just at the last second as
Tomas
Topinka coming out on another bike. Obviously didn't feel happy with his first one, but certainly the Swedes have just been hanging in there every time. He's got plenty of time. He's got more than 30 seconds, so as long as he doesn't do a practice start like we did last night, should be no problem for him to get up to tape.
No problem for him, but we're still waiting for the man in blue, Grzegorz Walasek, to come out for the pits gate. Grzegorz Walasek coming right across the grass, plumbing a furrow there. They got a ploughing match
he's
here.
Tied up with all the wires there, Tony. That could well cause drama for the team. He's just now... Oh, I don't know what's going on there.
Well, Grzegorz Walasek is about to take the public address system off the air here at the East of England Showground. He's come across the centre green. It's going to be even worse because he's going to miss the 2 minutes if he doesn't hurry up here.
The 2 minutes is now out, Tony, so it'll be very interesting to see what the Polish referee does.
He's excluded him, I can tell you. Grzegorz Walasek on the centre green is excluded by the referee for failing to reach the tapes. It's a pretty harsh decision because what held him up was the public address wires across the centre green.
Yeah, unbelievable scenario that is, and he had 2 races on the trot and obviously was up against time anyway. He rushed across the centre green and then just got caught up with the wiring there on the grass.
Well, they're going without him, and away goes heat number 6, and there we go. And on the inside in green, that's Tomas Topinka, but he's headed down by the rider in white. Hans Andersen in red, chasing him down the outside. Todd Wiltshire comes through to pick up the lead for the Australians. Packing in 2 behind him in the yellow helmet colours, that's Peter Karlsson. We're going wider and wider. Hans Andersen has found a line, and he will now pursue that line round the outside in pursuit of Todd Wiltshire.
Yeah, good first corner there from the Dane, but Todd Wiltshire turned back up the inside and got his wheel in front. But oh, here comes Andersen back in the picture.
Yes, Andersen, Wiltshire will come back on the inside and does now. It's a ding-dong battle. Andersen in white, almost on the grass, taking the man in red, Todd Wiltshire wide.
Will he do it again,
Wiltshire will
Tony?
come back up the inside and does on that bend. And with just a lap and a quarter to go, remember, Andersen for Denmark in white, Wiltshire for Australia in red. Back in third place, Peter Karlsson in yellow. Right at the back is Tomas Topinka, but these two are having the race of the night. There goes Wiltshire on the outside, going the long way round. Will he kid him? Will he come back up the inside? Will he come again, Wiltshire? No, he doesn't. It's won in the end by the man in white. What a race for Hans Andersen, ahead of Todd Wiltshire in red for the Australians. Third in yellow is Peter Karlsson. Back at the rear in green is Tomas Topinka. Remember, Grzegorz Walasek excluded for Poland. Perhaps a shade unlucky, his machine still wrapped round the public address wires. But that was a race and a half, and what an effort from Hans Andersen. Denmark may not have been too well, but that certainly has put them back in contention. Denmark's Hans Andersen 4 points. Todd Wiltshire for Australia after a ding-dong battle 3. For Sweden, Peter Karlsson 2. The Czech Republic 1. There's the progressive total. Sweden 16, Australia 15, Denmark 10 move forward. Poland and the Czech Republic on 9, but there's an awful long way to go.
Well, race of the night here so far. We see Todd Wiltshire in the red helmet colour and Hans Andersen in the white helmet colour. Todd Wiltshire looks like he's in front at the moment, but he doesn't clamp it down on the inside. He goes for mid-track and Andersen hits the front, but Wiltshire reads that move, turns back up the inside and gets his wheels in line and hits the front. But now we see again Andersen in front. Wiltshire trying the inside line again, gets in front of him, but they swap that position. They seem to sort of like swap it each time, and all of a sudden Hans Andersen now decides that it's his turn to go underneath. And it was a hell of a race, and certainly the race of the night so far.
And in the pits, the winner of the previous race was Stefan Andersson. He's with Jonathan Green.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. And obviously, pressure was on you at the beginning of the week, knowing that obviously Andreas Jonsson, who's been flying, you had to replace.
Yeah, to be honest, I feel quite a lot of pressure on me. I shouldn't really, because it's almost everyone is Grand Prix rider. So, but I'm well happy with my first one. I think the inside gate was really good to start with in the meeting, so I feel happy.
Were you the only Swede to have won tonight?
Yeah, but I think the rest of the boys, I mean, it's so awkward out there. If you miss the start, it's so awkward to pass. So hopefully the rain stops and we'll be able to win more races.
But you feel good, yeah?
Yeah, so far so good, yeah.
All right, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Back to you, Tony.
As we move on now to heat number 7, remember the rules on tacticals. If you're 8 points or more behind in the 5-heat format behind the leader, you can use a tactical substitute or a joker who would count double points. No move in that respect yet. We have the lineup now on your screen for heat number 7. On the inside is Piotr Protasiewicz for Poland, who need a win in blue. Gate 2, Mikael Karlsson in yellow for Sweden. Lukas Dryml goes in green for the Czech Republic. Gate 3 is Jason Lyons. Unfortunately, first time out for tape touching, he was excluded. And Bjarne Pedersen, very much in form, young Dane, progressing pretty quickly on the world scene, goes from the outside. And with young riders emerging, Kelvin, perhaps the established men not quite making it tonight.
Well, certainly Jason Lyons was nervous in his first one, and he's been around a long time. It did surprise me, but he'll be hoping to get away in this one and get a good race under his belt. But Protasiewicz, he had a bad ride first time out, and he didn't score any points, ran a last at his home track here in the British League. Certainly gate 1, he needs to pull something out of the bag here for the Polish team.
Well, I wonder if he can do it. Our starting marshal has just about got them into line. Peter Protasiewicz this time on the inside gate. There in white is Bjarne Pedersen. We know his capabilities. We know what sort of rider he is these days. Away goes that starting marshal up by the tapes. Protasiewicz holds it on the inside, picks up the lead, but now the chase is on for the man in white. Bjarne Pedersen goes right round the field to pick up the lead for Denmark ahead of Protasiewicz. Now following him in yellow, Mikael Karlsson picks the same line to move into second place. Back in fourth place in green is Lukas Dryml, right at the back in red. That's Jason Lyons, but some riders picking a different line from others, and it's profited for the front two.
Certainly Bjarne Pedersen seems to have found a line a little bit wider, and he got a great run around the first corner and went straight by Protasiewicz, as did Mikael Karlsson as they came into the third and fourth corner on the first lap. But certainly the Scandinavians are dominating this race.
And the racing line seems to be moving wider and wider. Right at the back in red, Jason Lyons not having a great World Cup. In they go to the final lap with Bjarne Pedersen in front of Mikael Karlsson. Denmark ahead of Sweden. Remember the colours, they stay in these throughout the meeting. Denmark in white, Sweden in yellow. Third place for Poland, Peter Protasiewicz in blue. A battle at the back, now seeing Lukas Dryml holding off his band to take fourth place here. But a brilliant ride there in white for Denmark by that winner Bjarne Pedersen. Ahead of in yellow, second place, fellow Scandinavian Mikael Karlsson. Peter Protasiewicz in blue took third place, having led from the start. Back in fourth was Lukas Dryml in green. That's how they finished. It was another, once again, quite a race here. Only 7 heats are gone. There's another 18 to come. It's at anybody's meeting. Denmark 4 race points. Bjarne Pedersen. Sweden, Mikael Karlsson 3. Peter Protasiewicz, Poland 2. Lukas Dryml for the Czech Republic 1. The progressive total, Sweden in 19 lead Australia by 4 points. They're on 15. Denmark have 14, Poland 11. The Czech Republic now 10. But Sweden 4 points in front at the top.
Yeah, terrific hit here. We see Protasiewicz off the inside, just about gets there in front of Mikael Karlsson, creeps around the inside there, puts his front wheel over the white line, but he's not there for very long because here comes Bjarne Pedersen in the white helmet colour, finding a lot more grip on the middle of the track to the outside, gets great speed off this first corner and goes by Protasiewicz as if he's stood still. Mikael Karlsson's forced out there and he thinks, well, if the Dane's going to do it, I'm going to follow him by, and just any second now we're going to see Mikael Karlsson follow him through. But again, this rider who was a star on Thursday, again doing his country proud tonight.
Well, the star of that race, Bjarne Pedersen, with our star, Jonathan Green.
Yeah, he's right here. Hey, you needed that. You got a couple of heats ago, you weren't doing so well, but that looked good, and the smile on your face says it all.
Yeah, you know, the track is a little twig out there tonight, but I get really good gate and go around in the outside, so in the dirt out there, and it's working really good.
Like you say, it's a bit trick out there. Is most of the grip on the outside?
Yeah, I think we'll move a little more out in the track now. It's slip on the inside, and when you hit the dirt, it's really heavy.
Not a lot of room out there either, is there?
No, but that was okay.
I'd like to see that smile. The Danes are smiling at the moment. Back to you guys, Tony.
Well, certainly jokers could come into play very, very shortly. Remember, in this competition, it's an 8-point lead. You have to be 8 points behind the team in front. At the moment, Poland and the Czechs could have played their joker with the leader Sweden on 19. That's not the case at the moment. Gollob is in this one, could have been a tactical joker off gate 1 in blue for Poland.
So,
Leigh Adams gate 2. Sorry, Kelvin. Yeah, you believe that?
Well, absolutely. It's certainly a superb opportunity to play a joker with your top rider coming out of the best starting gate. And it may well be that they've missed an opportunity here, Tony.
Stefan Andersson in 3 for Sweden. A winner hit last time out. Bohumil Brhel goes in gate 4. And on the outside, that's Nicki Pedersen. And a bit of tape touching there, man. Increase excluded. Bo Brhel is out, and he won't like that. I can confirm that Bo Brhel for the Czech Republic will be out for tape touching.
Just shows you the tension of tonight, Tony, because Bo Brhel there hardly waited at all. He just charged at the tapes, and just shows you how keened up these riders are tonight, because that's the second time we've seen a rider touch the tape. Just that little bit of impatience on the start line.
Well, I just wonder if the regulations might now, with a restart, allow Poland to substitute it. I understand they probably don't, which is a pity. Poland have missed a trick, haven't they?
Well, it's possible, and they may well rue this because they've got their best rider off the inside gate there, and I know Leigh Adams was impressive in his first ride, but certainly that gate 1 does give you that advantage into the first corner. And 8 points here that would be the result of playing a tactical joker if Gollob were to win it. Certainly would put the Polish team right back in this meeting, Tony, and you may well be right. It may well be an opportunity that they don't get again.
Well, we'll have to see. There's going to be a restart. It's a normal restart. The riders are now on 2 minutes. The referee has set the 2-minute clock going. Already up at tapes is Stefan Andersson. Coming up on the inside is Tomasz Gollob. A change in bike here for Nicki Pedersen. He's got on a new bike at pit side. Remember, there's no problems over edges. They can use a fresh tire for each race if they like in this FIM meeting.
And they certainly do in these sort of conditions, and every time you have the opportunity to use a new edge for a race, you go with it.
Why though would this man be changing his bike? He hasn't even started a race, Kelvin.
It's a difficult scenario to understand, but certainly he felt that the other one wasn't right, and only time will tell whether he's made the right decision.
Well, we've seen some fantastic meetings this week, and this is boiling up to be another one. Tomasz Gollob on the inside, Leigh Adams for Australia, 2 world-class riders there. Stefan Andersson in yellow, middle gate. Bohumil Brhel excluded on the outside. Well, that's Nicki Pedersen on new machine, but away they go. Gollob struggles to keep it in line, but holds it there to take the lead. But the grip is on the outside, and the man on the outside is Leigh Adams. not making ground, and Gollob holds this. Round the outside now behind him goes Stefan Andersson to try and pick up some distance, and Andersen is making progress to go round Leigh Adams right at the back in white. Is a disappointing Nicki Pedersen.
Yeah, good start by Gollob. Just for a second there, I thought that Leigh Adams may have had the better of him, but Gollob made a great first turn and got away. Leigh Adams settling down in second place, and Nicki Pedersen putting Stefan Andersson under a lot of pressure as they entered that corner.
Oh, we almost get into Stefan Andersson in third place there. We see Andersen looking back on the inside. He was taken wide. Almost an apology, I think, there from Nicki Pedersen. But out at the front, there's no doubt about the quality of that man Tomasz Gollob as he goes into the final lap ahead of Leigh Adams, both Grand Prix riders supreme. Nicki Pedersen is back in third place. Gollob all over the track, all over his machine indeed. Right at the back now is Andersen, covered in shale from head to foot. But as the checkered flag approaches, it goes to Tomasz Gollob in blue, ahead of Leigh Adams in red. Third place in white goes to Nicki Pedersen, and Stefan Andersson desperately disappointed after his encouraging first lap in yellow for the Swedes. But it certainly opens up the meeting, and the polls, I'm sure, will rue the fact that they could have used the joker and used it to major advantage. It would have collared them 8 points in that, and would have made an awful lot of difference to the standings you're going to see in a moment. Poland on 4 points, Tomasz Gollob. Leigh Adams for Australia 3, Nicki Pedersen 2 for Denmark. Sweden, Stefan Andersson has won, the Czech Republic none. But look at this now, Sweden 20, Australia 18, Denmark 16. But had Poland used the joker, they'd have gone up to 19 and would have been just 1 point behind Sweden.
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity they've missed here because Gollob gets away. It was a class act. He lifts there for a minute. It looks like Leigh Adams might get the better of him then, but Gollob leans back. That normal style we see from Gollob, making the bike work as he enters into the first turn. So good to see him here in England riding like that, and a terrific ride from Tomasz Gollob.
Tomasz Gollob is in the pits now with Jonathan Green.
Yeah, Thomas is just making a few alterations, but Thomas, you had a good ride there, but perhaps maybe you should play the joker?
Yeah, I don't know. It's my manager the decision. This track is very good. It's much water. This moment is very good.
But a very good win for you puts you back in the meeting, yeah?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I think that said it all. Maybe, he said. And I don't think the confidence is over high at the moment. They've got work to do, basically, down here. Back to you.
Well, of course, it means they've now lost the opportunity to use the joker because they have closed the gap now. Indeed, they could have closed it a lot further. The only team eligible to use a joker, as the points stand at the moment, are the Czechs.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, that, but certainly they should have played it there, and here we'll see the lineup for this one, Tony.
Look at the lineup. Jason Crump on the inside. Antonin Kasper for the Czech Republic, gate 2. World champion Tony Rickardsson, very disappointing first time out, goes from gate 3. Gate 4, Ronni Pedersen for Denmark. He suffered an exclusion. And for Poland, Krzysztof Cegielski on the outside. Now, team managers, the job isn't easy for them here. They've got to be right on the hub of things, and perhaps a trick was missed there. I just wonder whether it will come to be rude later on.
Yeah, this is a big heat here. We've got Jason Crump on the inside, Tony Rickardsson on that gate 3, which isn't the best of starting positions. Tony wasn't very spectacular in his first ride. It'll be very interesting to see what he comes up with in this one.
Heat 9. Remember, 25 heats this meeting. Away they go. Left at the tapes as Tony Kasper. But a flyer for Jason Crump, who seems to have it right this time. Round the outside in blue goes Krzysztof Cegielski down the back straight to move into second place. He's being followed by Tony Rickardsson, who's trying to pick up the line. Has now got third place, but still has work to do as he drops back to fourth. Right at the back is Kasper, but Crump has stolen a march of the field.
Fantastic start from Jason Crump on the inside. There we go. And we just see that Ronni Pedersen's bike stop there, Tony.
Not a great night for Ronni Pedersen. No points for the Danes in that one. Mechanical failure for him. It doesn't stop Jason Crump out front here now. The man in second place in blue remains Krzysztof Cegielski. Still work to do for the out of touch and seemingly out of form world champion Tony Rickardsson there in third place in the yellow helmet colour. Into the final lap goes Jason Crump, again stretching his lead with every turn of the wheel ahead of Krzysztof Cegielski for Poland. Back in third place for the Swedes is Tony Rickardsson. Back at the rear is Tony Kasper, who's going to get a consolation point. But the Aussies will remember this ride from Jason Crump in the final countdown for Poland in blue. Cegielski in second place. Tony Rickardsson third in yellow. The most disappointing of the Swedes, it has to be said, so far tonight. And at the rear in green is Tony Kasper. And well, in a moment, Kelvin, I'm going to put to you a question. I just wonder what is wrong with Tony Rickardsson. But let's look at the official result here. Jason Crump, undoubtedly the winner of that heat, and the Australians will be closing the gap with a vengeance, because the result of heat number 9 now shows in red Jason Crump, the winner for Australia, on 4 race points. Poland's Krzysztof Cegielski, 3. For Sweden, Tony Rickardsson, 2. The Czech Republic, Tony Kasper, has 1. Progressively, with 9 heats gone, Australia now joint leaders with Sweden on 22 points apiece. Poland have 18, will rue that tactical joker not being used. Denmark have 16, and the Czech Republic 11.
Here we see it again. Tony Rickardsson makes a good start. Tony Kasper just was sleeping on the start there, but Jason Crump makes that gate 1 work for him again. Turns the bike nice and early as he enters there. Rickardsson thinks, I'm going to try and creep around the inside there if Jason moves off the line. But it didn't work for him here. Crumpy in front, looking good. Had a bad start first time out, but this time made up for it and really got his speed on in this race. Here we see Cegielski on the outside, the rain falling. Rickardsson desperately trying to find some speed down the inside. But Cegielski follows Jason Crump on that wider line, and that seems to work better. And so far, Tony Rickardsson just doesn't seem to be able to get his bike hooked up on these conditions.
Well, Jonathan Green, I think, has Jason Crump in the pits.
Yeah, he's right here, and 10 times, but level pegging with Sweden now.
Yeah, you know, I think, again, the rain caught us out early on, you know, you know, a couple of races, and hopefully we can get back into it. I'm sure it's going to be a long, wet day or evening, and we're going to fight. We want to win this, so it's not over for us yet. We've got a long way to go, and we're all starting to...
I think they all want to win it. Thanks, Jason. Yeah, it's tense, though. So different than last Sunday. Back to you, Tony.
Yes, a long night indeed. 2 teams sharing top space, but the Swedes lead. They're joint leaders, and they've only had 1 individual winner in 9 heats, but they've been packing in where it counts. Niklas Klingberg goes to Sweden on the inside. Charlie Gjedde for the Danes, grade 2. Alice Dryml in the green helmet colour of the Czech Republic goes in the middle. Ron Sullivan in Australia goes in red from gate 4 on his favourite home track. And on the outside, gate 5 belongs to Jarek Hampel, already a heat winner for Poland.
Yeah, certainly Ryan Sullivan didn't have the best of opening rides for him by his standards, and that Jaroslaw Hampel on the outside, he was superb on his first one, so a lot of expectation on this race.
Away they go then for heat number 10 as the tapes fly up, and a real flyer on the inside for Niklas Klingberg. But look at the man in blue. Jarek Hampel has come from the outside gate to go by 1, 2, 3 and move into second place. Right at the back is Ron Sullivan, not for the first time tonight, struggling on his home track. But Sullivan now has real work to do, and the pole's out front with Jarek Hampel pursued by Niklas Klingberg. Third place now held by Charlie Gjedde, but here comes Sullivan.
Great move from Ryan Sullivan there, just went straight between the Swede and the Czechoslovakian rider, and really seems to be picking up the pace now and putting pressure onto the Swede.
Only half the race gone. Has Sullivan got enough to make ground to gain 1 more place over Niklas Klingberg? Down the back straight they go with a lap and a half to race. But Jarek Hampel, who's looking a super rider in this World Cup, he was truly brilliant at Eastbourne on Tuesday and looking good again now. But here comes Sullivan round the pits bend. Ron Sullivan, he will cut back on the inside and now put Klingberg under some pressure. But the track is running out. Round to the last 2 bends, out front in blue, that's Jarek Hampel. He's going to win it. Second place in the end goes to Niklas Klingberg for Sweden in yellow to put them marginally in front. In third place, Ron Sullivan for Australia in red. The man in white is Charlie Gjedde. Right at the back in green is Alice Dryml. But a tremendous race there. And Jarek Hampel came from nowhere around those first 2 bends to pick up the lead and hold it. Ron Sullivan completely lost it on that first bend. Had work to do for the rest of the race. But in the end, the result a fair one, I'm sure, for Jarek Hampel with 4 points ahead of Sweden's Niklas Klingberg on 3. Ron Sullivan's Australia, he got 2, Denmark 1. Progressively now, just 1 point sees Sweden in the lead over Australia, 25-24. Poland in contention with 22, Denmark 17. The Czech Republic 11, 10 heats gone, 15 to go. The World Cup final is the climax coming up after the break.
Welcome back, trackside here at the East of England Showground, Peterborough, for the culmination in the World Cup sport event this weekend. I've got to tell you, from trackside, we can see that Sweden are just 1 point in front of Australia, and Poland on 22 points, and lots to talk about as far as Poland are concerned in just a moment or two. Denmark on 17, the Czech Republic on 11. Welcome back to the studio. Here with me are Sam Amalenko and Chris Louis. I've got so much to talk to you about, but not enough time, I've got to tell you, before the next race comes up. But first of all, Gollob, his team manager, not using that tactical joker when he could have used it in Heat 8. Seems to me to be a major faux pas in this event. Chris, perhaps first.
Yeah, I think at this time they would be leading if they had have used it, and it looked like the absolute ideal opportunity to do that, and I think they've missed out, definitely.
Big mess, Sam.
Yeah, it's a shame. That it makes you wonder if they were thinking something different than everybody else is thinking, because they should have done it.
Well, I don't think they were thinking too much at all. Tony Rickardsson, I know we need to talk about as well, and of course one or two others. But first of all, let's go down and hear what the Danish team manager Jakob Olsen has got to say with Jonathan.
Well, you live and die by the decisions you make in a World Cup final. Jakob's made the big one. He's going the joker, aren't you?
Yeah, Bjarne Pedersen's going very good. Charlie's really going for it, but you know, I'm taking him out, putting Bjarne Pedersen on gate 1.
Is it because it's gate 1?
It's because it's Bjarne Pedersen and it's gate 1 and it's exciting. We're going for 8 points.
Well, it's the ultimate combination for the Danes. Let's go back to you guys.
Well, the news that Bjarne Pedersen in as a tactical joker is a major decision by the Danes. Perhaps it's the Poles that missed it early on. If the Danes get this absolutely right, the Poles will really live to regret it. That man, Bjarne Pedersen, certainly a hero for them at the moment. And certainly Bjarne Pedersen, remember, the tactical joker can only be played if you're 8 points behind the leaders, means your points count double. A win for Bjarne Pedersen here, who goes off gate 1, would provide him with 8 race points, Kelvin, and that will make a big difference.
Absolutely, and it'll be interesting to see how he responds to this pressure, because he's got Tomasz Gollob and Mikael Karlsson in this race, both very much established Grand Prix stars. But if he can make that gate 1 work for him, it'll put Denmark right back in this meeting, and Jakob Olsen will look like a hero.
Well, Jakob Olsen has decided who will go in that gate 1, which is Bjarne Pedersen. Give us a chance to look at the rest of the lineup. Bjarne Pedersen on gate 1. Todd Wiltshire for Australia goes from gate 2. It's Tony Kasper for the Czech Republic, gate 3 in green. Mikael Karlsson, the Wolverhampton Swede, goes in yellow from gate 3. And on the outside, Tomasz Gollob goes for Poland. Tomasz Gollob certainly will have work to do. And Gollob tonight, so far, Tomasz Gollob with 2 wins from 2 races is going to be a man that will take some beating, but this would take the Danes to 25 if Pedersen wins this, and will put them right back in the meeting. But they have to watch that man there, Tomasz Gollob. 2 rides, 2 wins so far.
Yeah, he's been very impressive so far this evening, much better than when he was riding at Eastbourne on Tuesday night, and certainly so far this evening he's looked in top form.
Starting marshal again gets them in line. This is 11. Watch that man in white, Bjarne Pedersen. Remember, he's the man that counts double. The splendid Danish team spirit. Will he come to the fore? He gets the start he wanted. Will they cut across? The man in blue is Tomasz Gollob, who's fast. He's picked that racing line and he's down the outside. But Bjarne Pedersen is in second place for double points.
Oh,
now being pursued by Mikael Karlsson on the outside where the grip counts. He moves into second place. Back in fourth is Todd Wiltshire, right to the rear in green, Tony Kasper.
Fantastic start from Tomasz Gollob from the outside. Didn't think that was possible, but he made it. Bjarne Pedersen into second place, and Mikael Karlsson really going for it in the deep third on the outside.
Well, the Danes may be happy with 6 points, which they get, but Bjarne Pedersen is now challenging for front place. He's got by Mikael Karlsson again for Sweden. Karlsson, remember, in the yellow helmet colour. The man out front wobbling a little bit is Tomasz Gollob, and with a lap to go, the big Pole, 6 times Polish champion, is looking for his 4th win, his 3rd win in 3 rides tonight. He's looking back. He sees Bjarne Pedersen in close attendance. The Danes could be happy with this one, but Gollob looks set to take the checkered flag for Poland in blue. Second place, Bjarne Pedersen in white. 3rd in yellow for the Swedes is Mikael Karlsson. Right in red, Todd Wiltshire for the Australians. But the doubling of the points for Bjarne Pedersen will give Denmark 6 points and certainly help their cause in pursuit of the leaders. It reduces their deficit. They're no longer 8 points behind, and they're very much back in the hunt. The official result for heat number 11, 4 points for Tomasz Gollob. Bjarne Pedersen's second place points doubled to 6. For Sweden, Mikael Karlsson gets 2. For Australia, Todd Wiltshire 1. Tony Kasper fails to score. The progressive scores see Sweden 1 point in front of Poland on 26. That win from Tomasz Gollob, he has 12 of their 26 points. Australia on 25. Denmark on 23. The Czech Republic on 11. only people now that could use a tactical are the Czech Republic.
Here we see Bjarne Pedersen on the inside, lifts for a moment, looks like he's blown the start, but he regains control and enters the first corner and slips inside Todd Wiltshire. Wiltshire not able to take advantage of Bjarne Pedersen, just not getting away that cleanly. But here comes Gollob round the outside. Tremendous first corner from him. Really working and riding well this evening. And here we come, Mikael Karlsson again on the outside. And as we go down the back straight, there's Gollob on the dirt. And look at this brave move from Mikael Karlsson. Just for a moment, I thought he wasn't going to hang on to it, but he just manages to keep on the bike there. But he gets filled in as he comes off the corner. And he goes straight by Bjarne Pedersen, but he doesn't hang on to it because Pedersen rides a great corner and gets back into that second place and gets 6 points for the Danish team. And a pretty good move there by the Danish team manager, Jakob Olsen.
Not enough, though, to beat Tomasz Gollob, but he, for the moment, is the man of the meeting, Tomasz Gollob, here in this one. And in this 5-team format, he gets 4 points. And each time he's done it, 3x4 is 12. Kelvin, the quality of racing on this somewhat dodgy track, it has to be said, not bad, is it?
Oh, I think it's top draw. You know, Tomasz Gollob, he didn't look that good down at Eastbourne, to be quite honest, but tonight he really does look the business. And it's gently raining here all the time. The track's tricky. It's a lot of pressure on the riders. And so far we've been seeing some real classy performances.
Yes, this World Cup this week has had some superb speedway, but certainly been bedeviled by the weather somewhat. We're waiting now for the riders to go to tracks. Tell you about our journey up here in a minute, Kelvin. Right at the start, heat number 12, Krzysztof Cegielski, the blue helmet colours for Poland from the inside. Denmark, Hans Andersen in white. Gate 3, Jason Lyons, disappointing at the moment for Australia. Gate 3, Alice Dryml for the Czech Republic. Gate 4, rather, on the outside, Stefan Andersson goes for Sweden. Remember, in front at the moment the Swedes, but only just by a single point from Poland. Our referee is a Pole, Mr. Marek Wojciech from Katowice. Away they go on the inside. Pole to the fore this time is Krzysztof Cegielski in the blue helmet colours, who's got a flyer. Now the pursuit is on, but coming through the pack like a knife through butter is Jason Lyons, sending wide the man in white, Hans Andersen, who comes back well into second place, and maybe he did it deliberately in pursuit of Krzysztof Cegielski. And for Hans Andersen, this is a fairy tale.
Fantastic first lap from Cegielski, but Hans Andersen is riding out of his skin. I've never seen the guy ride so well. He just seems to be so brave and so pumped up, putting the pole under a tremendous amount of pressure.
Having to get the tear-offs off as the shale and the mud and the dirt and the rain gets on the front of his visor. But look at that down the back straight. Krzysztof Cegielski, of course, a rider with Poole last year. Hans Andersen, a rider for Poole now, but the battle in third place is important in this. Coming through now, Jason Lyons, ahead of the Czech Alice Dryml. Right at the back in yellow to relegate Sweden's chances is Stefan Andersson. But look at the gap there for the man out front. Krzysztof Cegielski, the pole in pole position, is going to take the checkered flag now in blue. A brilliant ride too by Hans Andersen in white. And it has in third place there. I think it went to the man in green, Alice Dryml.
Yeah, I think so. It was very tight on the line
ahead of the
there.
Australian in red, Tomasz Gollob. And that was the first heat in which Sweden have gone pointless tonight. But let's look at this here. The second place goes to the man in white for Denmark, certainly there. But there we have, and Australia won't be too pleased with that. But a tremendous ride by the Pole, Krzysztof Cegielski, to give him the victory. Right at the rear, Sweden, and the first pointless ride of the night for Sweden. And that certainly changes the order around here, and anything can still happen in this World Cup final. The rain continues to come down. The sky tells a lie, perhaps a little bit blue. Poland's 4 points for Krzysztof Cegielski. Hans Andersen for Denmark, 3. A great ride by him. For the Czech Republic, Alice Dryml, 2. Australia's Jason Lyons, 1. And Sweden's first pointless ride of the night. Poland lead on 30, ahead of Sweden by 3 points. They have 27. Denmark 26. Australia 26. The Czechs could use a tactical substitute, and they need it.
I can't believe that the Poles didn't play their tactical joker earlier on. Just think how far in front they would be now, because they really are riding superbly, and Cegielski and certainly keeping his end up in that race. And I think we've got something. I think Jonathan Green's down in the pits, ready to give us some more information.
Yeah, I am. Thanks, Kelvin. Yeah, I'm down here with Krzysztof Cegielski. He's just had a great ride, and you guys are now in the lead, and that's so important at this stage.
Yeah, we are a little bit dirty, and that tastes not really good, so we have to win it now and keep going and be on the top in the end.
We've been talking to the other teams, of course, and I think the weather has caught out a few people. How have the Poles been dealing with it? Because it's not been easy tonight, has it?
Yeah, it's not really easy. The start is most important, but we're trying and we are on the top, so just keep going like that, and we are together, we are talking to each other, and that's working.
And gate 1 looks good, but then Tomas can go around the outside from the outside, it seems.
Yeah, Tomas can go everywhere, so...
A useful man to have.
Yep, he will show a few different tricks.
So still confident you feel it so you can win this World Cup?
Yes, of course.
All right, they're still confident. Back to you guys.
Well, looking at that scoreline you saw on top of your screen just now, only 4 countries could win it. But I have to say the Poles, as Kelvin mentioned just now, would have been 7 points in front had they used the joker when we suggested they should. Bjarne Pedersen, those in form, going for Denmark on the inside. Tony Rickardsson has had a poor night so far. He goes in yellow for the Swedes. Can he make ground? He's in gate 2. Tomas Topinka goes for the Czech Republic in green, gate 3. Jarek Hampel it is for Poland, and he's had a good night so far. He goes in gate 5, and on the outside in gate 5 is Leigh Adams of Australia. Kelvin, what do you think's wrong with Tony Rickardsson tonight?
I can't put my finger on it. We see him ride in so many places all over the world, and he's so consistent. And tonight, I don't know whether it's the slippery conditions. Certainly, he hasn't had the best of starting positions. He's had gate 3 and gate 4 in his first 2 rides, but he is strangely off the pace so far this evening.
Well, certainly the Poles, they've had 5 individual heat winners tonight. Jarek Hampel's provided 2 of them. Could this be number 3 for him? Gollob's had 3 rides, 3 wins. They're going well. Way on the inside now goes the rider in white, Bjarne Pedersen, to pick up the lead. Round the outside in red is Leigh Adams, having to try to move into second place down that back straight, and does, ahead of the man in third, Tony Rickardsson. Can Rickardsson get back in this? We've lost the man in green, Tomas Topinka, down the back straight. Back in blue for Poland is Jarek Hampel. This will close the order up if it stays like this. Can Tony Rickardsson make ground?
I don't know if he can, but Bjarne Pedersen certainly looks good tonight. He looks world class this evening. He's out in front, looking smooth. Rickardsson putting a lot of pressure on Leigh Adams, but not making any headway at the moment.
Well, it wasn't a bad ride by Hampel, who almost took Rickardsson there, and is trying again on that pitch bend, but Rickardsson will have grip on the outside to retain third place, but just. He's making no ground on the front 2 whatsoever. Bjarne Pedersen in white leads again. Ahead of him, red, Leigh Adams for Australia, but this will keep it very, very close indeed into the cumulative countdown here. Down the back straight, half a lap to go. Bjarne Pedersen for Denmark in the white helmet colours looks set to win this, barring catastrophe. Second place for the Australians. Leigh Adams in red will get to that checkered flag ahead of Tony Rickardsson, again in yellow. Rickardsson has not made the top 2 in any of his 3 rides so far. 4th in blue there. That's Jarek Hampel for the Poles, his first defeat of the night, but it really is getting desperately close, and that man, Bjarne Pedersen, is delighted to keep the Danes in the hunt, because it takes them on to 30 points now, and he won behind the Poles, and certainly it's getting very, very close indeed. Could the Danish team provide the big surprise of the night here? They've won the World Cup more times than any nation, but not in recent years, and those flags are waving with a vengeance from the fans who have made it across the North Sea to be here at Peterborough tonight. Denmark, 4 points for Bjarne Pedersen. Australia's Leigh Adams, 3. For Sweden, Tony Rickardsson, 2. Jarek Hampel, 1 point to add to his 8 previously. Progressively, Poland on 31 had Denmark by a single point. Australia 1 point further behind with Sweden, and just 2 points separate the top 4 teams. The Czechs, I have to say, are out of it.
It's so very, very close. Here we'll see it again. Bjarne Pedersen on the inside, really making that gate 1 work well for him. He's well clear again as he enters the first corner. Here we see Leigh Adams trying to run around the outside, but he doesn't quite make it, and Bjarne Pedersen's gone. Jarek Hampel shows there for a minute. Looks like he's got inside both of them, but gets swallowed up as he goes into turn 3. Leigh Adams there looks good in second place. Rickardsson trying that run around the outside, but gets balked by that deep dirt out there. Meanwhile, Pedersen's out front, and riding so well here, and been riding so well for Denmark throughout the whole World Cup, and he certainly has been a revelation for Jakob Olsen and the Danish team, and their team spirit seems to be carrying them through at the moment. A superb ride from Pedersen, and again Tony Rickardsson not really on the pace in this one.
We're moving on to heat number 14 with 3 of the riders already up at tapes, but that man Bjarne Pedersen certainly producing the goods for the Danish here tonight and showing his riding style. But in red there now, Jason Crump is the man who could put the Australians back towards the front. Tony Rickardsson, a trouble rider tonight. It's unusual to see his leathers covered in shale, Tony Rickardsson. from being behind tonight, and certainly from his point of view, he didn't expect that, but his team from Sweden are still very much in contention. But Heat 14 now is before us. The lineup sees Nicki Pedersen on the inside in white for Denmark. Gate 2, Greg Walasek in blue for Poland. Gate 3 is Jason Crump for the Australians in the red helmet colours. Lukas Dryml for the Czech Republic in green. Niklas Klingberg for Sweden goes on the outside in yellow. And Crumpy, if he wins this, the Australians will go back into the lead, Kelvin.
It's going to be really test his starting technique here off that gate 3. Nobody seems to be able to get out of the middle of the track, and certainly Jason did look impressive in his previous heat, but up against it here, and the Australians desperately need him to keep performing at his best.
Heat number 14. That man in yellow, Niklas Klingberg. Kelvin knows a little bit about him and Team Tatum in the Grand Prix Series.
Certainly do. He's ridden pretty well so far this evening.
And in red is Jason Crump, we just saw on your screen. Looking sideways in white is Nicki Pedersen. Our starting marshals struggling to get them up to tapes now. The drizzle continues to come down, but the green light's on. The tapes fly up, down, another flyer on the inside. This time for Denmark's Nicki Pedersen. Coming through in blue for Poland is Grzegorz Walasek. Putting him under pressure in green on the outside is Lukas Dryml, who now goes to the front. But look at the Australian in red, Jason Crump, who's come from nowhere, holding that inside gate. But now he's pushed backwards.
Oh, press down the straight, Tony. Unbelievable first lap. Throw a blanket over all of them. Fantastic first lap from Jason Crump. He was nowhere and he's come through into second place.
Look at the effort there of Lukas Dryml, who stretched it while they were battling it for second place. Lukas Dryml has picked his line now, going wider and wider to more and more grip and extending his lead. But Jason Crump's effort there, with the Czech Republic effectively out of this competition, could be enough to put Australia well and truly back towards the driving seat. A lap and a quarter to go. Lukas Dryml in the lead for the Czech Republic.
Klingberg stopped. Klingberg's got an engine failure in the middle of that corner. That's disastrous for the Swedes. That puts the Danes back up into third place.
Yes, disaster for Sweden, who of course were in the lead here, and well, these mechanical gremlins have struck, but they haven't struck this man here, as Lukas Dryml is going to take the checkered flag for the Czech Republic in green, but Jason Crump in red for Australia. Those 3 points will be invaluable ahead of the Danes in white with Nicki Pedersen. A consolation point for Grzegorz Walasek for Poland, who having very much an up and a down night, but Jason Crump had a disastrous start, but then put everybody under pressure. He came through the pack from the back, and nobody knew quite where he was going to go. It wasn't quite enough to catch this man, Lukas Dryml, and Lukas Dryml took the checkered flag here for the Czech Republic, only their second heat winner of the night. Lukas Dryml, his brother Alice, I think, was the first heat winner of the night, which allowed him to put them in contention early on. The Czech Republic's 4 points from Lukas Dryml. Jason Crump for Australia 3. For Denmark, Nicki Pedersen in 2. Poland's Grzegorz Walasek in 1. Progressively, well, it's pretty tight, as you can see. 3 sides all in contention and all dead level. Australia, Poland and Denmark. Sweden are 3 points further behind the Czech Republic on 17. Well, they could play a tactical joker.
Well, nobody's out of this. The top 4 teams here are all neck and neck. Here we see Jason Crump off that middle starting position. Doesn't really get away. There's just the middle of the track. They're so slippery, you just can't find the grip. Nicki Pedersen makes it on the inside, but we know how that charging style of Jason Crump. And he doesn't give up, and he rides a blinder to get back into second place. But Lukas Dryml around the outside finds a little bit extra. We're looking at Jason as he comes off the corner, desperately trying to find a little bit of extra grip down the inside of Walasek, but a superb race, and Jason keeps the Aussies in the hunt.
Well, it's not been a bad night for the Danes so far. One man who's missed out, who races here at Peterborough, the injured Hans Clausen, is with Jonathan Green.
Yeah, and it makes you think what might have been, because Hans Clausen obviously is probably kicking himself because he's injured, and at the start of the week there were hopes that he could come back for this meeting, but it wasn't to be. But he's doing a heck of a job right now, geeing the rest of them up. You really are working hard tonight.
Yeah, they're really doing the job tonight, my teammates. I could not have done better than they do. They all scoring the point, and they just go out and do a really nice job tonight.
And they've all been using your workshop, I hear, this week.
Oh yeah, they could use my workshop, so I've been used, so that's really good.
Tell us what the real feeling is. Can you win this World Cup?
Yeah, if we not have any unlocked later in the meeting, I think we can win it, but it's still a long way to go, and but we fired up for it, and we go for it now.
All right, the Danes are fired up, which is what we like to hear, and I know Kelvin and Tony are also fired up, so we'll let them go on.
We're certainly fired up, and look at that scoreline, because that makes everybody fired up. And I have to tell you, the regulations tonight, if the meeting is completed, that's all 25 heats completed, and any teams are level in any position, there will be a ride-off tonight, indisputably. Don't get the rule books muddled up. There'll be a ride-off tonight. The track is fit and 25 heats are completed. Any team's level, there'll be a ride-off. And if it was like that, we'd have 3 men in the first of those ride-offs.
Yeah, it could be drama right to the end here, but certainly so far this evening we've seen some superb action. And I'm sure this next race we've got Ryan Sullivan coming in here. He has been strutting so far, but here's the lineup, Tony. You take us through it.
Yes, Ryan Sullivan on the inside in red for the Australians. Ronni Pedersen, the unfortunate Dane tonight. He's had a bit of ill luck. He's in white gate 2. Bohumil Brhel goes for the Czech Republic. Surprisingly, yet to use a tactical joker. Piotr Karlsson for Sweden goes in gate 4. On the outside for Poland, home track specialist here, Peter Protasiewicz. That's the lineup. Remember, 3 teams all jointly in the lead at the moment. In red, Australia. In blue, Poland. In white, Denmark. All on 32 points, but the Swedes on 29 are only just behind them. Has there ever been a World Cup final just like this?
Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but certainly it's very, very close. This is a race here where we see Ryan Sullivan coming out into that best starting position, the inside. And Ryan Sullivan, I feel sure that he's got to get the 4 points in the bag this time and keep Australia right in the hunt.
There's Peter Karlsson in the yellow helmet colour, the Wolverhampton rider, of course. And Sweden, a heat victory here. Well, they would steal a march on at least one of those other 2 nations that, well, it's level here. And what a meeting. Darkness descending on the East of England showground. The floodlights picking out the riders. This is heat 15. Look at the efforts there. Peter Protasiewicz believes that that man in yellow, Peter Karlsson, is taking his ground. They can't see the white lines because of the mud.
Yeah, well, Peter's hardly moved, and the starting marshals wave for Protasiewicz, so we're all go now.
There's the line. You can see how close he is to that. Perhaps shouldn't have been allowed. Away they go. Peter Protasiewicz will have to go wide, but coming through on the inside is Ryan Sullivan. Ryan Sullivan, the Aussie, picks it up, but Protasiewicz in blue is moving into second place for Poland, having gone right round the field at the back. Third place occupied by Ronni Pedersen. On the outside in green, moving back to last place is Bohumil Brhel. In yellow in third place is Peter Karlsson, but for the Australians, as the Czechs go out again with Bohumil Brhel, it's a good ride for the man in front, Ryan Sullivan.
Ryan Sullivan back to his best here. Superb getaway from that inside start. Protasiewicz really rode well around the outside the first corner, and we're just seeing him. But Ronni Pedersen and Karlsson having a real ding-dong fight there.
Yeah, certainly moving into third place there, Ronni Pedersen, but he's still going to be put under pressure, I'm sure, by Peter Karlsson with a lap and a half to go. But the leader, Ryan Sullivan, having just the race he wanted to for the Australians here. Ryan Sullivan didn't start exactly as he intended, but certainly now looking impressive here on his home league track, and looking set for his first heat victory of the night for Ryan Sullivan in the red helmet colours, and that will put the Australians in the lead. Ryan Sullivan will take the checkered flag in red, and does. In second place in blue for Poland. Keeping them very much in contention is Peter Protasiewicz. Ronni Pedersen's luck has changed slightly for Denmark into third place. Right at the back of the 4 that finished is Peter Karlsson in yellow for Sweden, and the out of luck Czech Republic team, who perhaps were a shade fortunate to get here but did pretty well in the race off. Well, they're struggling a bit here tonight, but any of 4 nations can still win this. And there's the Australian flag flying for that man, Ryan Sullivan's 4 race points for his country to win. Poland for 3 from Peter Protasiewicz. Ronni Pedersen's 2 for Denmark. Peter Karlsson for Sweden there, getting a 1. Disappointing for the Swedes, who were in the lead, but now Australia head Poland by 1 point. The Danes 1 point further away, and the Swedes are 4 points adrift now of Denmark in 4th place, but not without hope, because there's plenty of time still to come. The crowd enjoying this meeting with 15 heats gone and 10 to go, plus or minus any ride-offs. The World Cup final will reach its climax later tonight, all coming after the break.
What a cup final we're having here at the East of England Showground, and after 15 races it couldn't be much closer. Australia just lead by a point from Poland, who just lead Denmark by a point on 34. Sweden on 30, 17 for the Czech Republic. And really, just a moment ago, we had 3 teams on 32. Welcome back to the studio here at Trackside Live. Samo Malenko, Chris Louis, a real treat tonight, but just a couple of questions because we don't have much time. Tony Rickardsson for once below par. Good job this isn't a Grand Prix event for him, Chris.
Yeah, it is a rare off night for him. I just can't really put my finger on what's wrong. You know, he just doesn't seem to have a good setup. Not riding perhaps as confident as he normally does. Whether conditions have affected him, I don't know.
Sam, the Poles have got a lot of race wins, but they're being let down just a fraction by the team people down in the lower rankings.
Well, I think that's the whole system. You know, when you got a good squad, they can't all be top stars, and I think both teams are going to feel the effect of somebody doing not so good. But the whole thing is to build momentum. Look at Denmark right now. I mean, they just got the great team spirit, and they're proving that to be what's giving them the result.
And the Australians. Well, the Australians didn't start off brilliantly, but they picked up momentum now. Ryan Sullivan in particular, who really didn't have a first turn to suit himself out of that gate, but he's fighting. He's so fast. He just seems to have picked it up now, though.
Yeah, we saw the same thing in Sheffield. They didn't make a very good start to the meeting and slowly clawed their way back in. But I was just looking through the statistics. We've got 12 GP riders in this meeting, and it's so competitive. Yeah. Only 6 of them now have won a race. And up until about heat 14, we'd only had 3 or 4 of them.
Well, the man for my money who won the event for them in Sheffield, Australia, Sheffield, who won it, the Australian team manager, Neil Street. He's now with Jonathan. Jonathan, give him my congratulations for Sheffield. I think it was him that did it for him.
Yeah, I think you're right. We were just saying tactical genius in Sheffield did it from your point of view. Well, that's certainly our opinion. But here tonight, the weather's starting to get better, but you're worried still about the gate.
Very much so, because as soon as you get conditions like this, it levels the balance of individual ability up. It's very much like a slick track. It puts everyone back onto a very similar level, whereas if the track was in good condition, the better riders would be so far in front. And of course, we've got some better riders like Crump and Sullivan and Wiltshire and Leigh, who could be way ahead on normal conditions. But with conditions like this on the starting line and with 5 riders, that makes it very difficult, because the rider on number 5 or 4, you're in a very difficult position going to the first corner, because number 1 and 2 especially, the riders are getting off that gate much better than anywhere else. So it makes it so much more difficult, because even when you get a rider like Jason Crump, who can come from the back door under almost any circumstances, he's having his work cut out tonight. He's done it once or twice, but it's a very, very difficult task.
All right, thanks, Neil Street. Well, let's get back to the action. Tony, Kelvin, pick it up with you.
While Todd Wiltshire's the man going for Australia so far tonight, he has not won a heat. If he does so here, he'd put them into a big lead. He goes in the red helmet colours. Heat 16. Man in white there, that's Bjarne Pedersen. In red there we see Todd Wiltshire.
Certainly Pedersen's been a star there, but he's going to come under a lot of pressure this time, and Neil Street was intimating that gate 4 and 5, much more difficult to make the start from there.
Well, I think Neil will be quite happy that Todd Wiltshire, his man for Australia, is on gate 1. It's Niklas Klingberg for Sweden, gate 2 in yellow. Krzysztof Cegielski goes for Poland, gate 3 in blue. A tricky gate that. Bjarne Pedersen of Denmark in white. Bohumil Brhel in green just about gets round to takes in time as the clock runs down. He has just over half a minute to spare, in fact. Plenty of time in Speedway terms. There's the clock running down. As we move on to heat 16, remember, it's 25 heats, and each rider of each team is scheduled to meet each rider of the other team once in the meeting. That can change, of course, in the event of tactical substitutions coming into play. The tactical joker or a tactical substitute only being used if a team is 8 or 4 or more points behind.
Certainly Todd Wiltshire's got to take advantage of the inside start, and he's certainly one of the best starters in the world, and I can see that he could get away here and get some points on the board for the Australian team.
While referee Marek Wojciech has his finger on the button, he waits for this starting marshal to move away. Away they do in red. Todd Wiltshire gets a flyer. This is what they want, but cutting through the inside is Niklas Klingberg to put Sweden back in contention. Coming through in green, a surprise ride by Bohumil Brhel, going round the field at the back.
Cegielski round the outside.
Cegielski it was, going round the back, but he's still back in last place. There wasn't room on that bend for the manoeuvre that he intended, but out front Todd Wiltshire now is ahead of in yellow Niklas Klingberg. The Aussies want this, but look at the battle in third place there between the rider in green, Bo Brhel, and the rider in white on the inside, now relegated to 4th place, is Bjarne Pedersen.
Certainly that Bjarne Pedersen struggling there off that gate 4 position, but out front there we see Todd Wiltshire taking full advantage of the inside, but just for a moment Klingberg came into the picture, but Wiltshire's back out in front, and Klingberg back in 2nd place.
This will be enough to keep the Aussies in front. The Poles will continue to regret that failure to use the joker when they should have done, with their man in 4th place, but with half a lap to go here in the red helmet colours. Todd Wiltshire wins it for Australia now. 2nd place in yellow. A good ride there by Nicki Pedersen, and in 3rd place Bohumil Brhel picks up 2 points for the Czech Republic, and Denmark there, it seemed to me, back in last place. Bjarne Pedersen out of touch with Krzysztof Cegielski getting the 4th place in blue for the Poles, and that will harm the Danish chances. And after such a brilliant performance so far by Bjarne Pedersen, I'm not quite sure what happened, but the Australian flag is flying here among the crowd, and that man is the cause of it. Todd Wiltshire's first heat victory of the night, and Neil Street predicted that, because from the inside gate, that's what they wanted, that's what they had. 4 points was the reward for the Sydney sider, Todd Wiltshire. He won that with 4 race points. For Sweden, Niklas Klingberg 3. For the Czech Republic 2 for Bohumil Brhel. Krzysztof Cegielski 1 for the Poles. Progressively, the Aussies lead by 4 points from Poland on 36, Denmark 34, Sweden 33 are now 7 points behind the leader, perhaps on the verge of a joker themselves.
Here we see it again. There's Bjarne Pedersen on gate 4. That's so difficult to make it from there. He just spins up, can't find the grip. There Cegielski gets squeezed on that ill-fated gate 3, but Wiltshire hits the front. He's in screen now. He drifts a bit too wide though, because Klingberg decides, well, if you're going there, I'm going to go around the inside. He now comes across into the middle of the track and finds a little bit of speed. Wiltshire's just too wide. And just for a moment here, it looks like the Swedes got it under control, but Wiltshire thinks, crikey, no, I'm going to try down the inside, finds a little bit of grip, squeezes straight across in front of the Czech rider and gets back in front. And again, we saw another terrific first lap there from the 2 front riders, the Australian Todd Wiltshire and Klingberg. And that really does help the Australian cause. They're right back in the lead now, 40 points on the board, and it was a terrific race between those two.
Well, the joker is to be played by the Czech Republic. Lukas Dryml, you see him on your screen there, is going to take the ride, and it means double points for the Czechs, who are in desperate stakes now on 19 points. They have to close the gap, and they're looking so to do at the moment.
Obviously, he's trying to use that gate 1 position again. That seems to be the favourite time to throw the total joker. And maybe it's too late for the Czechs anyway, Tony.
Well, we have a situation which many of you may have observed in the playoff on Thursday, because the Swedes tactically need to do something. Greeny in the pits, you can explain it.
I'm right here by the Swedish pit, and as you can see, a big conference going on, Mikael Karlsson in the middle of it. But the situation is this: if Sweden actually do a little bit of tactical work on this, they could actually play the joker. Michael, you've just been looking at the scores here. Are you aware of the situation in what you could do in terms of the possibility of a joker?
Yeah, we've just discussed it now. We haven't made a decision though, but we'll see.
Explain the situation. Basically, if you follow the Aussies around now, you could be losing a little bit of points, but putting yourself in a position to play that joker.
Yeah, I think we're looking to play it very soon now. We're going to do it.
What's been the overall feeling in the Swede camp? Because obviously you were one of the favourites tonight, but it's a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, it has been with setups. Nobody is really doing perfect, you know. So this makes it hard because we got no one in the team to talk to, basically. You know, we're just all trying to find something that works, and we'll just have to see now.
All right, back to you guys.
Away we go. I think the Swedes need a lecture in mathematics. Out front now, Lukas Dryml in green is overtaken by the man young Piotr Protasiewicz. But down on the fence bends go Jason Lyons for Australia. Catastrophe for them. It won't help the Swedes as their tactical substitute, but it will help them to catch the Aussies, and maybe they prefer to do it this way, because if Jason Lyons is excluded from this race, from the rerun, it will mean the Aussies are in trouble. He is excluded from the race. Jason Lyons will not partake of the rerun. Remember, the Australians go into the heat 4 points in front and could now be caught by Poland. The Swedes and the Danes could get desperately close as well.
Here we see it again. Jason Lyons desperately trying to get round the outside. And as we just come out of this first corner here he looks like he's got it all under control. But there he just gets a little bit out of shape. And Nicki Pedersen just roars straight across in front of him. From that angle, I can't see if he really did clout this front wheel, but here we see it from behind. It may be a better opportunity to see if the two riders do actually come together. Here, Pedersen going across in front of Jason Lyons, and to be honest, Pedersen doesn't leave anywhere for Lyons to go, and certainly I can believe that Neil Street will be on the phone to the referee about that one.
Well, there's all sorts of things happening, and Neil Street is being urged to go to the phone, but I don't know if you saw anything wrong there. I just don't think Jason Lyons had anywhere to go. I don't think there was any fault of the rider in front of him at all.
No, I think that was a situation where Jason Lyons was left with no room. He had no chance to avoid Nicki Pedersen, and I can see that.
And you think that's not first turn? I mean he got moved.
Yeah, but you know, I've checked it also on the TT on the replay, and I'm sure it was his own fault. He was just last and he couldn't find his place. Yeah, so.
But I do not think he came down himself. He was moved around on the first turn.
I'm sure he was the guilty one. So that's why I was critical. Yeah.
You can.
I'm sure he was the guilty one.
Marek, look in the replay, please, and have a look.
I already looked.
You have a look in the replay and see what it looks like.
I'm still sure he was the guilty one.
Right, okay. I will wait for you.
Yeah, I have looked the replay already.
Yep.
And I'm still sure Jason Lyons is guilty, so this is why I'm excluded him.
Have a look at Marek, please, because I think you said...
I looked twice from 2 different cameras.
You have looked already?
Yes, already looked.
And you do not think?
And still Jason Lyons should be excluded.
You think Jason is excluded?
Yes. Right. Good evening. Thank you.
Neil, come with me and let's have a look at it together, because maybe this will tell you what you need to know, which is obviously you feel as though he was pushed out, right?
Yep. Yes, of course, yep. I think that...
Okay, well, Neil's having a look at it now.
Yep.
Tell me what you see. He's looking very studiously at the other moment. Now, here we're getting to it.
Yep. Go ahead. Yes, you can... It is a difficult one. The other rider came across there, and Jason was coming from behind. You watch it here closely.
And do you feel it? Yeah.
You see, that rider is going... Now, in a different angle, the rider goes across the front of him. Now, when you get... The camera comes from a different angle, you cannot see it properly. But from the front view there, and the referee cannot see it because he's getting a foreshortened view, the rider who moved across Jason and took his front wheel. It's very clear there on the correct picture. It depends which picture he looked at, but the referees are reluctant to change their decision because it makes them appear to have made a mistake, and they do not like to think they make a mistake. They're like a lot of people who think they are in authority and they do not make mistakes, but we are all human beings and we all make mistakes. And he should look at that correctly because it shows distinctly that rider moved across Jason's...
Well, life goes on, I'm afraid, Neil. Mistakes or no mistakes, this is the World Cup final and it's tense. Back to you guys.
Well, he may be a good team manager. It's just like Alex Ferguson. He didn't see what everybody else did. For my money there, I don't think Jason Lyons was touched by anybody. He went for a space that didn't exist. The angle showed the referee to be perfectly correct. That joker we knew was being played for Lukas Dryml, of course, the man in green now, and it perhaps gives him an even better chance. But when the angle showed Neil Street not quite what he said first time, and he changed his mind a bit, didn't he?
Well, it wasn't quite so clear-cut then, was it? And then certainly he didn't have such a strong argument. But, you know, fair play to him. He's fighting for his team. I wouldn't expect any different from him. And, of course, you know, unfortunately it's gone against him, and it could be very crucial to the outcome of this meeting.
And will tighten up the World Cup, become more exciting. Lukas Dryml has the joker for the Czechs. The Sweden there now in yellow. They won't be able to use the joker, of course, now because they're bound to catch the Australians here. They're going to get at least a point in this or get within reach. For Poland, Jarek Hampel. For Denmark, Nicki Pedersen. And no rider on the outside. That's the restart, the new lineup for the restart of Heat 17. Yeah, the Australians in the lead going into this, but won't be now, perhaps.
Well, Lukas Dryml here on the inside in the green helmet colour. He was away last time. Let's see what the Swedes and the Poles can do this time.
Czechs, remember, in the green helmet colour, going for double points, and they get a flyer on the inside from Lukas Dryml, who could be set for 8 points here tonight now in this race. In second place in yellow for Sweden. Valuable points for them for Piotr Karlsson, but going round the outside in white is Nicki Pedersen, making ground and trying to move into second place. Right at the back for Poland. Disappointment for Jarek Hampel, but he's not done yet either. There are 2 races going on, but Lukas Dryml heads the field down the back straight.
Yeah, great start from Lukas Dryml off the inside. Superb away there. Hampel completely missed it on gate 3 there. Didn't get away. Nicki Pedersen doing all the stuff around the outside, looking tremendous, but not quite making it. And Piotr Karlsson putting Dryml under a lot of pressure.
riding the track where Nicki Pedersen is. You have to get it exactly right. He could still do so yet with a lap and a quarter to go. Pedersen in the white helmet colour for Denmark. Going to move into second place round this pit bend now as he takes Peter Karlsson, or tries to. But Karlsson comes through on the inside. Mounts a challenge on Dryml. Dryml holds on. Into the final bend they go. One of the best races of the night so far. Dryml in green will hang on to it. Second place goes to Peter Karlsson in yellow for Sweden. And beaten but not disgraced is Nicki Pedersen in white in third place, who battled all the way for the last 3 laps to try and get in contention. Jaroslaw Hampel a little bit disappointing in blue for the Poles there, and hoped to do better, certainly on his early form, but as the track has changed, it's not been quite so good. But the Czechs have done what the Poles should have done earlier. They played their joker at the best possible moment and have got maximum points from it. They have 8 points for that man, Lukas Dryml, as the Czech joker in heat 17. Well, I wonder if they could close the gap with any more. And Lukas Dryml will be delighted with that. There are the points for this heat. Lukas Dryml's 4 points are doubled weight for the Czech Republic as heat winner. Peter Karlsson for Sweden gets 3 in second place to close the gap on the Aussies. Denmark's Nicki Pedersen 2, Poland's Jaroslaw Hampel 1. A major effect on the scores. The Australians lead by 3 from Poland. Denmark 1 behind them, tied with the Swedes. Any of those 4 nations could still win it. The Czechs have closed the gap slightly and could use a tactical substitute still.
Yeah, certainly was. Not a complete disaster for the Australians there. They're still out front. There's Dryml on the inside using that gate 1. Pressure of the tactical joker on his back as well, but he certainly responded and hit the front nicely as they entered the first corner. He certainly, we've seen in the Grand Prix in the recent past that he's certainly a world-class rider in the making and making his mark on the world scene. There's Peter Karlsson in second place round the inside. And he plugged away there the whole race, coming under a lot of pressure at times from Nicki Pedersen, just coming into picture now, who just kept charging around the outside. There's Jaroslaw Hampel, but here we see the battle for second. Nicki Pedersen continuing to charge around the outside, leg out the back. Tremendous aggressive style, but Peter Karlsson didn't panic. He just kept plugging away around the inside. And at the end of the day, it was Karlsson that came out on top and just kept in second place. But a very entertaining ride, and certainly Nicki Pedersen didn't lack for effort there.
Well, heats 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 and 25 to come. Plenty of action yet, and just 4 points separate the top 4 nations. Leigh Adams for Australia, they are the leaders at the moment in red. Man in green this time is Alice Dryml, of course, brother of the man who just doubled his points to 8. But it's Ronni Pedersen for Denmark in white there that goes from the inside gate. Alice Dryml for the Czech Republic, boosted, I'm sure, by that win for Lukas, his brother, goes in gate 2. Gate 3 is Leigh Adams for Australia. Don't like that gate, Kelvin, do we? Grzegorz Walasek, gate 3 in blue. For Poland, Mikael Karlsson for the Swedes in the outside in yellow.
Certainly it's going to be a pressure race here for Leigh Adams. They got away with it in that last one. They're still leading this championship here this evening. Gate 3 hasn't been working. We've seen all the riders, including Sullivan, struggle from there, so he's going to need a slice of luck around that first corner. And Walasek as well on the outside. Mikael Karlsson, the tension's growing race by race, and what a great meeting we're witnessing here.
Well, it's done credit to the event it is. It's the World Cup final, and really the world's top 5 nations. Pity we haven't seen the Americans or the British in this, but certainly these 5 nations are doing the event justice. The crowd, a big one here at the East of England Showground. Away they go, and struggling there, the man in green, Alice Dryml is left, but picking up in white. Out front is Ronni Pedersen. Round the outside in red goes to pick up the lead, Leigh Adams for Australia. Following him round in blue is Grzegorz Walasek from the back for Poland, relegating the Czech down to 4th place. But the Czech does a brilliant ride, Alice Dryml there to move into 2nd place, leaving the Swede Mikael Karlsson at the back and turning the table at the moment almost on its head. But Leigh Adams down the back straight has stolen it for the Aussies to increase their lead.
Fantastic first lap from Leigh Adams. Proved us all wrong that gate 3 was so bad. He made it work for him. Alice Dryml coming through into 2nd place, superb effort, and Mikael Karlsson there really struggling again. He was speaking in the pits to Jonathan Green, can't find the right setup tonight, but certainly Leigh Adams looks like his bike's working beautifully.
If the Swedish riders have ridden to form, the form we know, they could have been well in charge here, but certainly the big guns have missed out. Mikael Karlsson and Tony Rickardsson tonight, but not this man. Leigh Adams is coming right for Australia at the right time. They went into this heat in the lead, and this man is going to keep them well and truly in the lead. The wheelie across the line for Leigh Adams in red. The Czech, Alice Dryml, gets 2nd place. Are the Czechs to be reborn here? His brother Lukas won the previous race. 3rd in white goes to Ronni Pedersen, and Mikael Karlsson in yellow takes 4th place there. Grzegorz Walasek for Poland out of it, and that surprises me. He certainly rode well during the meeting at Eastbourne on Tuesday. But Australia's Leigh Adams 4 race points, the Czech Anders Dryml 3, Ronni Pedersen of Denmark 2, Sweden's Mikael Karlsson 1 for heat 18, which means progressively now, with 18 heats gone, the Aussies lead by 6 points now from Denmark. Poland have 37, Sweden have 37, and just 1 more point. Are we in a position again when the Swedes need to drop 1 further point behind, and they could use the tactical joker, as could Poland?
Yeah, it's could be time for the team manager to start thinking hard here. Leigh Adams there off that in middle gate there, gate 3. He really does make it work for him. A very classy performer. Nicki Pedersen there, he's away into the first corner. And just for a moment, Ronni Pedersen, his brother, Ronni Pedersen into the first corner. But Leigh Adams out in the dirt, making that bike of his work so well and generates a lot of speed as they come off the corner. Ronni Pedersen stuck down on the inside, Dryml there, clamped down in. And here we see, just any minute now, you'll see coming on the outside of the picture, Leigh Adams sweeps across in front of him. And that was a tremendous ride for the Australian, and surely a confidence-boosting ride for the whole team. So keeps the Aussies in front. They're 44 points on the board now, and they're looking strong right now. And I think that the other teams have got to be looking to try and work a way of being able to use their joker.
Well, the tactics of it are, if Jason Crump wins this one, but Jonathan Green in the pits knows the tactical position. Greenie, what's going on down there?
Well, obviously I'm here with Tony Rickardsson. He's keeping calm, he's keeping quiet, but it's been a tough night for both you and the rest of the Swedish team, hasn't it?
Yeah, sure is, you know. It's a pretty tough track out there, and we haven't really got dialed in. I hope we've done a few changes now, and hope we can come with a last surge push, you know, to climb up again.
If you finished second to Australia in the next one, you could use the joker. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, sure is. I mean, I'm not really into the team plannings and stuff, you know. I let that to Tony Olsson, but I sure have a few things up his sleeve.
What about you personally? We're so used to you riding around all conditions anywhere in the world, but tonight you seem just a little bit, by your standards, to be struggling.
Yeah, I am struggling, you know. I find the conditions very tough tonight, and haven't been making any starts, and it's extremely tough in the race when I've been out behind. So, but I changed bike now, and hopefully going to be a little bit better.
Save the best till last?
I sure hope so.
All right, fair enough. Well, the world champion is hoping that his luck will change, but he'll need it too, because Sweden are up against it. Back to you.
Yes, let's explain the mathematics, because the 2 teams that could yet play their joker, that's the Poles and the Swedes, they need to be 8 points behind the leaders to do so. If they see Australia here and they follow them round, they will get maximum points they can, would then be 8 points behind, and could double points for a win next time out. Is that the manoeuvre, Kelvin, really?
Well, I think it's certainly on the cards for the Swedes, because Tony Rickardsson comes out of gate 1 in the next heat, heat 20, and if they could manage to drop just 1 point back now, then they would be able to play that joker. Rickardsson seems to have changed his bike, he seems to have a more positive attitude, and it could just play right into their hands and really get them back into this meeting.
Well, the Czechs now have come good lately, are trying to steal a march on the others here, because Anders Dryml is replacing Tomas Topinka in this one as a tactical substitute. Now, we know what Anders Dryml did last time out, and certainly looked impressive there. His brother got maximum points. They've scored 11 points.
He ran a second last time, didn't he? So
they've had 11 points for the last 2 rides.
Yeah, they've really bounced back very well, like the bouncing Czechs do. And certainly Dryml, both the Dryml boys, Lukas and Alice, have been riding well. He's got 2 on the trot, so he's under a little bit of pressure on the time. But here he comes now, but certainly just 37 seconds to go, but he's well on his way to tapes.
Well, this World Team Cup is showing with a vengeance that team racing can be every bit as exciting, and probably more so than the Grand Prix action. 5 nations all trying their darndest here to put it across their international opponents. That man in green there is Anders Dryml. Could it be the night for the Dryml brothers? The man in yellow is Stefan Andersson, is playing his part for Sweden. There is Anders Dryml in as a tactical substitute. Remember, he doesn't get double points as a tactical sub. They play their joker, but he can take a ride, and he's taking that of Tomas Topinka. Charlie Gjedde is the Dane. He goes into white helmet, comes from gate 3. On the inside in green is Anders Dryml. Away they go. Dryml again gets the fly, but on the outside, Jason Crump is going to provide the main threat, because he's picking a racing line that gets grip and moves into second place and goes out in pursuit of Anders Dryml. Goes wide round Anders Dryml. Dryml takes him wide. Crump will have to come back up the inside, and does. Man down at the back, a machine flying. Oh dear, the referee has to stop that, and the Dane again. Charlie Gjedde has bundled into the fence below us here and is none too comfortable, is Charlie Gjedde there.
No, I think that's Stefan Andersson. It's Stefan Andersson. It was a tremendously high-speed accident there, and I think that was not against the air fence. He just missed it on the straight, and that was quite a big impact, and certainly so far we might well be able to see that again, and it will be interesting to see exactly what happened. It was right beneath. I didn't quite see it, but certainly Jason Crump was putting a lot of pressure onto Dryml as we came by. Here we see it now. There's Dryml out in front. Here we see Stefan Andersson out of shape in the deep stuff on his own, and he just slides bang straight into the safety fence with his back, and I'm sure he's feeling very sore.
Not a great week for Eastbourne riders. Tony Svard, Mark Ram and Stefan Andersson, all in the space of 5 days, all taking a tumble in World Cup practice or event.
Yeah, I'm sure that their promoters, John Cook and Terry Russell, are just feeling, crikey, what else can go wrong for us? But that was an accident all on his own in that deep, sloppy dirt out there on the outside, and just got caught out and just hit the fence with considerable force.
Our referee, Marek Wojciech, has excluded Stefan Andersson, the prime cause of the stoppage. That'll be a handicap to the Swedes. They certainly will now, Kelvin, be at least 8 points behind the Australians.
That's one way of doing it, I suppose, Tony. So they will be able to play their joker if they want to in the next race with Tony Rickardsson. And certainly with that gate 1 working so well, I believe that Tony Olsson, the team manager, has to do it now to try and grab something out of this meeting for the Swedish team.
I don't think that's quite the way they wanted to do it, and I'm sure
absolutely not.
Stefan Andersson distinctly uncomfortable there, and we'll be waiting a little while. There's somebody again on the pits phone.
There was no real attack contact. Very close, but it was not just like cutting off and so on. Yeah. Very close, but I haven't seen any fault from the other riders.
Yeah, but he didn't put him. He touched him coming out the corner there.
Yeah, but
from the middle.
It was not a real attack like trying to get him down. Yeah? So I'm sure it was rather his fault. Yeah. How I decided. Okay.
Yeah, but if you look at the incident a bit earlier on, you can see that he's.
Yeah, I look carefully all the bend again. Yeah, and as I'm trying to explain, there was no attack from the other rider. Yeah. They were just close to each other, and he couldn't find his path to survive this bend.
Thank you.
This is how I see it. Okay.
Thank you.
Come with me and we'll have a look at it on the monitor, yeah? Well, Tony's with me now, and tell us again your thoughts on it.
Well, I mean, obviously when Stefan fell, he was on his own, but a bit earlier on in the corner, we can't really see it. It's out of picture there. I think Jason was sort of pushing him a bit wider.
Well, this is a better angle for you anyway.
This is a better angle. See it here. He's right up there against him there, and I think that's what set him off in the first place, and obviously the referee saw it differently. It's very, very hard.
Yeah, it's very tough, isn't it?
Yeah, he's pushing him out there. For definite. The referee didn't see it the right way.
So you're feeling Protasiewicz just pushed him too wide?
Yeah.
All right, well, you've seen it there, and not happy at the moment, but this is it. This is what happens in the World Cup final. Everybody's got to complain about something, but it's so hard. As you can see, you can look at that for an hour, and it's very hard. You can see it both ways. The referee has got a tough job tonight, but that was Tony's feelings on it. He felt as though the pole pushed him wide, but there you go. Let's go back to Tony and Kelvin. I'm sure they've got some thoughts on it.
Yes, Jonathan, I think that was a scenario there where the conditions just caught the riders out. Obviously, Protasiewicz was pushing hard, drifted across in front of Andersen. Andersen had to move out and got into the loose, wet surface out on the outside and just lost control of the bike and hit the fence.
Well, as we said, tactically now, Sweden will be more than 8 points or 8 points or more behind Australia, regardless of the result here. Tactical substitutions could come into it while the ambulance is on the track to take Stefan Andersson away. Lads in the studio, I think that, all sorts of things could develop from now on, couldn't they?
Indeed, if you work out the tactics of it. I mean, team managerial-wise, we'll come to you, I think, on that one, Sam, at the moment. A tough decision as far as the Swedes are concerned, not. They've now got to use their joker at some stage.
Yes.
I think Kelvin was the man who said it. That's one way of getting around it.
Yes, well, that's the hardest way of getting around it. But definitely Tony's got to be thinking, Tony Olsson's got to be thinking about picking the Swedes back up now. Tony Rickardsson hasn't had a good meeting so far. Maybe he's made the changes. Maybe it's time for him to go. I mean, it's going to be tough to beat Ryan Sullivan if it was to do it in the next race after this one.
But Tony Rickardsson can use the joker in Heat 20. He's off of Gate 1 as well. Ryan Sullivan's alongside him in 2. It's going to be a hell of a race, isn't it?
Shaping up to be, one hell of a race. He's had an off night, but he's got to face Ryan Sullivan and Tomasz Gollob, so it's no easy race for him.
Well, we've still got Heat 19 to rerun yet, as they're now clearing the track and getting themselves sorted out. That is Heat 20 we're looking at, and that's one good race. And if they do decide to use it, I think they're going to use it. I mean, really, it's a case of whether Tony Rickardsson can pull something out of the bag. He's not been riding as we would expect him to ride here, has he?
No, he hasn't, but, he's got experience. He knows how to make a comeback within a meeting. So, if anybody can do it, he can.
Good to see Stefan Andersson back up on his feet, because that was a very hard crash.
Very, very much so. I think also about the Joker, I think there's still room for that. I mean, if they're struggling, because they got not the best gates coming up later on, and the next couple of races after that, they might still be behind. They might have another position to use it. So maybe,
well, as we wait for 19 to come back out, maybe we can take a look at that crash again, and you two guys can look at it from your points of view, because basically it was a little bit of a situation where it might have been a contentious issue with him being excluded. Talk us through it.
Well, I mean, you couldn't see it in that point right there, but that's where he went down. But just before that, he was riding the high line. You can see him here. He's up in the high line. And as he's there, he's just getting Protasiewicz just on the inside right of him. It took his line away from him, and that's where he got disturbed right there. And unfortunately, that put him offline. He had nowhere to go but to put the bike down. So I think that was a hard call. And I think looking at that angle right there, definitely the referee should have been thinking about that. Was a little dangerous.
It's getting hard for a referee nowadays with all the technology around. He's sat up in the box over there. He's obviously got our monitors. He's obviously watching what we're playing out as well. But he's got to make a decision fairly quickly. I'll tell you what, Gjedde was lucky to get away with that, as well as the bike came back in the track.
Yeah, looking at that too, it's probably the conditions of the track probably played a big part of that, because it's a little bit slippery, wouldn't you think? Because, I mean, Peter didn't actually go all the way to the fence. He kind of stayed in. As he got to that point and turn, there was a bit of room there. I think it just...
Yeah, I think Steph had room on the track.
Nothing held him up.
No, Protasiewicz did perhaps give him a nudge and just set him off. And as Sam says, under normal track conditions, maybe he'd have kept himself upright.
Conditions have been difficult with the amount of rain we've had here. We've got 5 riders out on a track at one time. I'm actually amazed there haven't been more first corner incidents to start with, but more accidents generally.
Yeah, certainly. I said that Thursday night for the race-off. I think we got through to about heat 15 before we had any incidents in the first corner, which was amazing. But I think it was Todd Wiltshire said earlier in the program, that's probably a measure of the standard of races out there.
And another thing that probably helps too is the track doesn't really have any real big grip in it, so it's not going to tend to guys chasing one line. They can kind of use the whole track right now, so it doesn't really cater to one. If there was just a lot of grip on the outside, you'd probably see everybody going for it. But right now they're kind of being able to use all different parts of the track to kind of put the race on.
Well, we can see Stefan Andersson. He walked into the ambulance on his own. He's now had a little ride around the track, and he's walked out of the ambulance on his own. We can see him in the middle of the picture there. And Jonathan Green, I think, is right beside him. So perhaps, Jonathan, you could dare to have a word with him.
Yeah, I'm just going to wait for a moment, because obviously Tony's talking to him as team manager. It's more important than us butting in, but I will get to him real quick. Let's just see. Let's see if I can hear what they're saying. Stefan, what was the discussion, and how are you?
Well, I heard, I don't know what you call it, the bottom of the back.
Yeah, sternum, yeah, the coccyx.
Yeah, I've heard that, so it's probably to sit down, but I lay there for a while. I feel a bit better. Hopefully I can sit on the bike, but I just can't understand what the referee did, that decision. I mean, I know he went run straight into me. No doubt about it, straight into me. You must see it on the TV.
Well, we've had a look at it. What did Tony just say to you?
No, you see how I was, and I just have to go out to my next one, whatever, how I feel. It doesn't matter what I feel. Otherwise, we're going to run clean there. We're going to do a joking in the next one. So I have to go down and see if I can ride or not. I have to try, but I see the decision.
Well done again. You're trying hard. I'll tell you what, the Swedes are really battling tonight for that beautiful trophy. But hey, somebody's going to get it. And I'll tell you what, the Swedes have certainly put the work in.
It is a beautiful trophy indeed, and well worth winning, but who's going to win it? The Australians in the lead at the moment, but under threat from 3 other nations, Poland, Denmark and Sweden, in hot pursuit. Certainly Sweden's chances not. Well, they certainly were hurt there by the absence of Stefan Andersson. And Kelvin, I think you believe it's shade unfortunate.
Yeah, he was a little bit unfortunate. I think conditions of the track certainly came into play there. I think ordinarily that was a hard move from the pole, Protasiewicz, but if the track had been dry, he wouldn't have lost control so quickly. But now we see the Swedes will drop 8 points down. I think Stefan actually intimated that they will be using a joker in the next race, so that'll be interesting. But here we see the lineup.
There's the lineup. Grzegorz Dryml on the inside in blue for the Czech Republic as a tactical substitute. Stefan Andersson, we heard, excluded. It's Charlie Gjedde for Denmark in white. Peter Protasiewicz goes for Poland. Perhaps a shade lucky to be in the rerun of this one after that little incident with Stefan Andersson. Poles' chances helped by that decision of the Polish referee, Marek Wojciech. But on the outside is Jason Crump, a track expert and a man we might just expect to win this heat, Kelvin.
Yes, he certainly did look good earlier on, but I think the referee's decision there was a tough one for him. You know, the racing incident happened so very quickly, and somebody's got to go out, and unfortunately it was Andersen.
Well, there's a lot of Polish fans here. Might have been unpopular had he excluded Peter Protasiewicz. Heat 19 about to get underway here. Away goes our starting marshal. Just 4 riders in the restart. Jason Crump with a flyer from the outside, but a good start on the inside by the Czech Ales Dryml. And the Dryml brothers have now had 3 heats in a row. Could the Czechs dramatically get back into this? Crump is in pursuit of Dryml. In white in 3rd place, Charlie Gjedde. Right at the back for Poland, Peter Protasiewicz. But Ales Dryml is flying.
Fantastic start from Dryml around the inside and really riding a nice tight line and keeping his speed up. Jason Crump desperately trying the outside line again, but just not trying to be able to generate the speed he normally does. But here he comes. Crumpy's not giving in.
Crumpy certainly not giving in. Nearly half the race still to go. He's in pursuit, but Ales Dryml could be set to win another heat, and this is a purple patch at the moment. And looking ahead to those jokers possibly in the next heat, the Australian in 2nd place will be enough to allow both Poland and Sweden to use a joker. This heat's not over though. Down the back straight goes Ales Dryml in green. He looks back. Crump is still trying. Crump is going to come round the outside. Will he dive back on the inside? Crump is keeping going. Dryml looks both ways, enough to see him win it ahead of Jason Crump in red. 3rd in white is Charlie Gjedde for the Danes, and disappointment for the Poles at the back, with Peter Protasiewicz in blue taking a consolation point in 4th place. But certainly the Czechs moving back with a vengeance now and moving on to 34 points there to put themselves very much within reach of the men in front. The result of that one, Ales Dryml 4 points for the Czech Republic. For the Australians, Jason Crump 3. For Denmark, Charlie Gjedde 2. Peter Protasiewicz 1 point. That's Poland's total there. The progressive total, Australia 47, Denmark 40, Poland 38, Sweden 37. Jokers eligible for both of them, but the Czechs are gaining ground at the back. Jonathan Green in the pits has some news for us.
Yeah, we're right here, and you can see this man here, Tony Rickardsson. Not been an easy night for the world champion, but he will be going for the joker now. Such an important heat. The whole World Cup could run on this. Poland had the opportunity. They will not be running their joker. Gollob is out there, but they're not going to run it. That's the latest down here in the pits.
Well, we anticipated that, Kelvin, an interesting move, and I wonder if Tony Rickardsson can produce a world champion ride to give his club, his international team, world championship aspirations.
Well, he's certainly going to need to produce his best here because he's up against Tomasz Gollob and Ryan Sullivan, who have both been performing so well this evening. And Tony's coming out on his 2nd bike, and he's going to need to get away and maintain that speed. But we have seen the 2 Dryml boys that have coming off the inside start and winning races for fun so far this evening. And so from the Tony Olsson's point of view, the team manager, it is an opportunity for him to try and get those points back and get back in this meeting.
Well, do you think the threat of Tony Rickardsson frightened off the Poles from using their joker?
Well, it's possible, but certainly Tomasz Gollob shouldn't be frightened because he's been in very good form so far this evening, really doing very well. And to be quite honest, Tomasz Gollob has been riding better than Tony Rickardsson this season. So I am mildly surprised not to see a double tactical joker played here from 2 teams in the respect of the Poles and the Swedes.
Tomasz Gollob, unbeaten so far tonight, goes to the unfavoured gate 3. But Tony Rickardsson, if he races like a world champion, we know he is, he could produce 8 points, and the Swedes really back in contention. Ryan Sullivan for Australia, they head by 7. The 2nd place team, who are now Denmark, but they have a chance too. The rest of the field, gate 4 is Hans Andersen for Denmark, gate 5, Lukas Dryml with the Dryml brothers riding high at the moment for the Czech Republic.
They certainly are. The Dryml boys have been doing a fantastic job for their country. 2 young guys that have been riding in the Elite League for a couple of years, and they're doing their Czech Republic team very well indeed.
5 riders, 5 nations. Red Australia, blue Poland, white is Denmark. Yellow Sweden, green to the front goes Lukas Dryml, but he's pushed out there, and Lukas Dryml has an engine failure. The Czechs' hopes have gone here now as Lukas Dryml is out, but down the back straight in red goes Ronni Sullivan to head Tony Rickardsson in second place. Coming through is Tomasz Gollob to battle the world champion. Rickardsson needs to have the race of his life here now in pursuit of track specialist Ronni Sullivan. Gollob is going by Rickardsson as well, tailed off his hands Andersen, but can they catch Ronni Sullivan?
Oh, I don't think they can now. Sullivan just went straight by Rickardsson, no problem at all. Tony did ride a hard first corner, but Sullivan just generated all that speed. Got to put a bit of pressure onto Rickardsson, but right now it looks settled that Rickardsson's holding on to that second place and at 6 points at the moment.
Rickardsson in voluntary lifting of his machine, not looking the man totally in command of track conditions we normally see. Tony Rickardsson a maximum, of course, down at Poole in midweek in the qualifier for this, but not the same rider tonight. Nevertheless, he will pick up 6 points as his totals doubled here for the Joker. But Ronni Sullivan in red puts the Australians in command. Tony Rickardsson second place is enough to earn him 6 points. Tomasz Gollob beaten for the first time tonight for Poland. He's in third place. They'll need to use their Joker next time out to make any ground at all. Right at the back in white is Hans Andersen. So as we look at heat number 10, a chance for us to look at the result of that. With 5 heats to go, it's very much building to a climax. The winner, Ronni Sullivan of Australia, 4 race points for Sweden. Tony Rickardsson 3, double to 6 with the Joker for Sweden. Poland's Tomasz Gollob 2, 1 for Hans Andersen. The Czech Republic failed to score with their retirement there of Lukas Dryml. Australia 51 are the leaders. Sweden on 43 have used their Joker. Denmark on 41 have used a Joker. Poland can use a Joker. The Czechs are trailing. The crowd are certainly enjoying this meeting with 5 heats still to come, all to play for still after the break.
Welcome back to the Speedway World Cup final. The defending World Cup champions now have a commanding 8-point lead with 5 races to go. Australia then on 51 from Sweden on 43. They've used their Joker. Denmark 41. Poland are about scheduled to use their Joker as well. And the Czech Republic on 34. Well, I can tell you, Jonathan down in pit lane's working hard, and he's got news.
Yeah, I have. Of course, this could be the most critical news of the night, is that Poland, possibly, depending on what happens in this next heat, will play the Joker in heat 22. And the likelihood is it'll be this man here, Tomasz Gollob. Now, as you well know, Tomasz Gollob, the top sportsman in Poland. If anybody's going to pull it off for him, a World Cup that is, remember they lost the World Cup by just 3 points last time out. Tomasz wants to do it. So it's 22. Watch out for that. Back to commentary.
I can tell you, Greeny, the mathematics won't happen that way. If the Poles were to win this one and the Australians to come nowhere, they won't be able to use a tactical substitute. Anyway, let's see what happens. Jaroslaw Hampel.
I think they should be playing it now, Tony. I really do. I think that this is another opportunity from the Polish team manager. He may have missed it. And they've got an inside starting position, gate 2. We've seen the inside starts working well. Hampel's been going pretty well this evening. Sorry, you run through the lineup, Tony.
Lukas Dryml is the man on the inside for the Czech Republic in green. Jaroslaw Hampel goes in blue for Poland. Todd Wiltshire in red for Australia. Peter Karlsson is in as a tactical substitute for Sweden. Remember, they can use a tactical substitute, being 8 points behind the leaders. On the outside is Ronni Pedersen for Denmark. But the mathematics of this at the moment, Poland are actually 9 points behind Australia. Was Hampel to win it, coming round the clock now with plenty of time to spare. That's Lukas Dryml. He'll make it there with some comfort. And he doesn't want to go across the grass and demolish the public address system as Grzegorz Walasek did earlier this evening, I'm sure.
And he's just about made it. He's coming out on a fresh bike because he had problems with his other bike. It's Tomas Topinka's bike, I believe. He's got that number 2 on the side, so that puts him at a disadvantage. And again, the Poles, I believe, should have played their tactical Joker in this heat.
Could they be wrong twice in a night? They're coming fairly wide. The man on the inside Dryml well wide, almost taking the line of Jaroslaw Hampel. Away goes the starting marshal. Hampel keeps it down to lead them into that first bend. The Australians are in second place, but now Todd Wiltshire's been overtaken on the outside by Ronni Pedersen. And if it stays like this, this will be what Poland want to do, but they may, just may not be able to use a tactical Joker. Let's see what happens. Jaroslaw Hampel out front in blue, heading the man in white, Ronni Pedersen for Denmark. Australia's Todd Wiltshire third, now being put under pressure by Peter Karlsson. The tactical sub for Sweden, Lukas Dryml, on a strange bike, is at the back.
Yeah, Hampel back to his best. He got a great start off gate 2, hit the front and really has got a lot of pace. There, Ronni Pedersen hanging on to second place. Wiltshire putting him under all sorts of pressure. But again, I do question the tactics from Poland. I think they should have played the joker here, Tony.
You're absolutely right, because if it finishes like this, they'll only be 7 points behind and won't be able to use it as they go into the final lap now. Lukas Hampel out front, with the Australian coming through to second place is Todd Wiltshire. Really, the Poles want the Australian to finish second, I have to say. But now into third place goes the man in white. There in second place is Jarek Hampel wins in blue. Second place in white. There is Ronni Pedersen. Third in the red helmet colours there, Australia, Todd Wiltshire. Doing the calculations here, that moves Australia, I think, on to 49, and the Poles with 38 move on to 42. I make it 7 on my calculations, but we'll have another look at that. 53, I'm told, and there we are. We see it, the Australians, I beg your pardon, 9-point lead for the Australians. The Poles can use it, and Kelvin, perhaps they should have used it there. Poland's Jarek Hampel, 4. Denmark's Ronni Pedersen, 3. Australia's Todd Wiltshire, 2. Sweden's Piotr Karlsson, 1. And the progressive total there confirmed. Australia, 53, and a 3-way tie for second place on Poland on 44, Denmark 44, Sweden 44, and the Poles can use their man that they want in the next race. But maybe it should have used it right there, Kelvin.
Well, it's quite, Hampel's now won the race. We see Hampel here, he's on a fresh bike. He obviously didn't like the other one, but he's got away brilliantly off gate 2. Tomas Topinka's bike, Lukas Dryml on Tomas Topinka's bike, doesn't work so well. He gets stuck in traffic, but Hampel looks really good, and he's out front and had a lot of pace. And it was a terrific ride from him, and certainly put him back in the picture. But certainly the other boys here, Todd Wiltshire. Here we look at Gollob on the track.
Tomasz Gollob is the man that is coming in here for the Poles. He is a tactical joker going in blue. And the Danes are using a tactical substitute. Nicki Pedersen will be going in white in heat 22 as a tactical substitute for Denmark.
I am mildly surprised that they are using, obviously Tomasz Gollob is a class act, we know all about him, but certainly that gate 3 position isn't the best starting place. It does put his rider under a lot of pressure. We've got Tony Rickardsson in this race as well. We've got the Danes bringing in Nicki Pedersen, so certainly the Polish team managers put a lot of pressure on his number 1 rider.
Well, the mathematics of the Poles, and well, Kelvin, twice you've said it, but they should have used a tactical sub. If Jarek Hampel had done it there, his points would have been doubled. He won the heat. They'd have had 4 more points than they got going into this heat. But, Jason Lyons has not had a great night, but let's see what happens here now, because Tomasz Gollob can close the gap. Tomasz Gollob in the blue helmet colours there goes from gate 3 as a tactical joker for Poland, which means his points are doubled. The tactical substitute for Denmark, Nicki Pedersen, is in the white helmet colours in gate 4. He can come in because they too are 8 points or more behind. Bohumil Brhel goes for the Czech Republic on the inside in green. The Australians who lead have Jason Lyons in red. He goes from gate 2. But that man there is the key perhaps to the outcome of this World Cup. That is Tomasz Gollob.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on Gollob here. He needs to get away. He's got to find some grip out of that middle start there. So he's certainly going to come under pressure from Rickardsson. I'm sure Tony will try his utmost to try and get a good run round the first corner. Jason Lyons, who's been out of form so far this evening, again, he needs a decent result in this one.
Heat 22 could be crucial. They've got to change. Kasper is in green in place of Bohumil Brhel. A late replacement here for the Czech Republic as a tactical
substitute. And the Poles at the back, Gollob's at the back, Tony.
Yes, Tomasz Gollob has to go by 1. He goes by Kasper. Tomasz Gollob has an awful lot of work to do. It's not going right for the Poles. But out front now for the Swedes, that's Tony Rickardsson. And Tony Rickardsson is leading a heat tonight at last here in the yellow helmet colours. In second place in red, that's Todd going well. That's certainly
Jason Lyons.
Yeah, Jason Lyons got it right there.
And here comes the Dane round the outside. Nicki Pedersen gets round the outside of Jason Lyons. But out front, Tony Rickardsson really looks like back to his best. But again, I think the Poles may have just blown it, because certainly Gollob looks stuck back there in 4th place.
Yes, they've completely blown the tactical substitute, the Poles, but the Swedes, Tony Rickardsson has got it right at last for them here now, going into the final lap ahead of the man in white, Nicki Pedersen. He's in as a tactical substitute for the Danes. The Australian Jason Lyons is putting him under pressure, but this will be enough to keep the Australians in command as they take the checker flag, and Tony Rickardsson does it in yellow. Second place in white goes to the tactical sub. Nicki Pedersen for the Danes. Third in red is Jason Lyons for Australia. And fourth in blue is Tomasz Gollob, whose 1 point is doubled, but that's certainly not enough for the Poles. And I think a tactical error has well and truly been made. Heat 22, the result, a win for the Swedes in the face of Tony Rickardsson. 4 race points for him. Nicki Pedersen for Denmark, 3. Australian Jason Lyons, 2. Poland have their 1 point double by Tomasz Gollob. The progressive totals, and there are 3 heats to go after the end of that one. Australia 55, Sweden 48, Denmark 47, Poland 46. The Czechs are out of it on 34, but there are crucial heats to come after the break.
With 60 live games from all 3 divisions, the Football League is back on Sky Sports.
Yes, it's in! Oh my word! Cracking strike!
Bradford v Wolves, tomorrow 4:30, Sky Sports 1.
Welcome back to the World Cup final. Australia led off the hook then by Poland's mistake with their joker. 48 points to Sweden. Denmark are in third. The Czech Republic look out of it down there in 5th place at the moment. Let's find the latest from pit lane. Jonathan, was that a mess by Poland?
Well, it was a mess by Poland, but I'm with the world champ, and obviously it wasn't a mess by Sweden. You got your bike going, and that was massive for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, sure was. Been struggling a little bit all night and swapped bike for the last 2 rides and a little bit wrong geared in my 4th race, and now was spot on, but a little bit too late.
What were you telling the lads just now?
I just told them, you know, how I set my bike up and advise them maybe to try the same, see if they can get going a little bit better. I think we've been lacking a little bit on the setup.
All right, so obviously the setup has changed for Sweden. Let's go back now and find out if it works again.
We move on now to heat number 23. Man in white there is Hans Andersen. There is a change. Bohumil Brhel comes in for the Czech Republic in the green helmet colours and will go from the outside gate. On the inside, Hans Andersen in white goes for Denmark. Gate 2 for Poland, Piotr Protasiewicz. Gate 3 in yellow, Niklas Klingberg. Leigh Adams for Australia in red goes from gate 4. The Australians really very much in pole position now to win this World Cup. In green on the outside is Bohumil Brhel.
Certainly the Aussies really are in the driving seat now. They've you know, been much more consistent than the other teams in the last few heats, and certainly there's been some bad fortune from other teams, and I do think that the Poles may have blown it purely by not playing their joker at the right time. And you know, the Swedes may have been a bit unfortunate. Stefan Andersson's incident, and Niklas Klingberg had an engine failure earlier on, but the Aussies really, their class is coming to the fore as a lot of people expected.
Well, this is heat number 23. Remember, 25 heats to the meeting, and the Australians, well, Australians know what World Cup glory is like. Engine failure, 3 Swedish wins, could have a shock anywhere here.
Absolutely, so just keep focused on this race, because anything can happen right now.
Heat number 23, Leigh Adams goes for Australia, who lead the field at the moment. The red helmet colours, but on the inside, Hans Andersen gets a flyer in white ahead of it. 2nd place in blue for Poland, Piotr Protasiewicz. Round the outside goes the tactical substitute, Bohumil Brhel, for the Czech Republic. Now the Aussie Leigh Adams is moving into 3rd place. Relegated to the back is Piotr Protasiewicz, who's had a disaster and has failed at the back, and Poland are well and truly out of this now. Moving into Fourth place rather, Niklas Klingberg for Sweden, but the Aussie in second place is Leigh Adams, out in pursuit of the Dane, Hans Andersen.
Yeah, pretty tough first lap for Leigh Adams there. He looked like he was stranded at the back round the first corner, but he's picked his way through in the second place. Hans Andersen out front looking good at the moment, but the Swede back in fourth place. That's undoing all the good work that Rickardsson did in the previous one, and Brhel really just skidding in the way, to be quite honest, because the Czechs are out of it. But very nearly out of control there, but just about hands on to Andersen.
Into the final lap goes Andersen in front, but only just. Australia in second place, but Australia could be world champions if it stays like this. Australia's in the red helmet colours. They've got to win it, and they're not going to here, and they need one more race at least.
Leigh Adams was awfully lucky there. His bike packed up as he went across the line, but he's got the points in the bag, and he'll be...
I think he just held on to second place there, Kelvin, but something, I think his chain came off at the back in the end.
Yeah.
And he's one of the riders that has a chain guide, so something's gone wrong.
Yeah, a chain actually just snapped as he went across the start and finish line, but great ride from this man on screen. Hans Andersen rode a blinder there, and the Danes will be delighted with that, but certainly this is dramatic stuff here. We had the pole pack up, Hans Andersen doing some tremendous celebrationary wheelies down the straight, but Leigh Adams there just obviously had some bad luck and good luck all at the same time by obviously having that chain break, but managing to get those 3 points for his country.
Well, the Czech Republic got third place. Denmark's Hans Andersen, 4 race points. Leigh Adams, 3 for Australia. Czech Republic, 2 from Bohumil Brhel. 1 point for Sweden's Nicki Klingberg. The progressive total now are the Australians on the brink of this World Cup final triumph. Australia 58, Denmark 51, Sweden 49, Poland 46. The Australians are on the brink with 2 heats to go of winning the World Cup. Jonathan Green has Leigh Adams with him in the pits.
Yeah, like you say, on the brink, and I just wonder what thoughts of Leigh Adams at the moment, having just been out there, but you're so close now, just you and one other team.
I would say there was a bit of a stroke of luck there, you know. I felt weird, you know. It was like slip and chain, or something was happening during the heat. It felt like a flat tyre, but obviously it was something to do with the chain because it came off just as I went across the line. So, you know, a bit of luck. We got the 2 points, or the 3 points, I guess. And you know, all the boys are really pumped. We don't want to let it slip now. You know, we got some pretty fiery characters coming up with Ryan and Jason. So, fingers crossed.
58 to 51, it's 7 points, but I tell you what, the start of this evening wasn't as easy as this. I don't think you expected perhaps to be in this position right now.
Not at all, you know. It's come to our advantage now. It was a bit of a lottery before with the weather, you know. It was really difficult, and I think now it's a real races track, and we're all pumped for it, you know. We don't want to let it slip now, let me tell you.
Pretty bunch you, are you?
Let's hope, yeah, definitely. All the boys have done really well.
Doesn't matter what the sport, they're very gritty. Back to you.
Moving on to heat number 24, it could be decisive, and with Jason Crump in the heat, well, the Aussies here could win the World Cup tonight in this very race. Only a real disaster, engine failure in 2 heats possibly, could rob them. 2 points from this heat, and they are certainly world champions tonight. This is heat 24. The 2 points, it means that Jason Crump has to finish no further back than third to clinch the World Cup.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's more than capable of doing that. We're just seeing the inside of the starting gate just fly up there, and they're broken. But Jason Crump on that gate 2 there, I'm sure he's going to be able to pull this out of the bag for the Aussies. The Aussies have performed very consistently in the second half of this meeting. The conditions have improved, and I think we've seen their class and racing ability come to the fore. I just think, looking back on it, I think that the Poles have let a couple of opportunities slip during the meeting. They could have been a lot closer than they are now. And fair play to the Danes, they've ridden brilliantly this evening.
Well, this man is the key. That's Jason Crump on your screen. Jason Crump here going from gate number 2. He rides for Australia. Remember, tremendous night for the Australians it could be. There they are. There's the rest of the team. They know that third place will ensure they are world champions. As we look down on the starting gate here, the man in red's the one to watch, Jason Crump. He's pursued to the first bend. Peter Karlsson picks it up, but Crump is now in third place, and this will be enough. He could make second here, but the Danish go down the outside is Bjarne Pedersen. The Pole is back in fourth place. That's Tomasz Gollob in blue. Back at the rear in green there is Anders Dryml. Crump would not normally settle for third place, and I wonder if he will here, Kelvin.
No, I don't think he will. I think he's coming under an awful lot of pressure from Tomasz Gollob, but Bjarne Pedersen again really starring here tonight. Came flying past Peter Karlsson, flying around the outside, And right now, though, the Aussies are hanging on to those 2 points, and it looks like it could be their night.
Less than half the race to go. Down the back straight, Bjarne Pedersen in front for Denmark. Back in second place in yellow for Sweden is Piotr Karlsson. But the man all this crowd is watching is in third place. It's Jason Crump. These points will be enough for Australia to take the world title. They now have 250 metres to go. Crump looks like moving into second place. The battle for second place is crucial. Out front, Bjarne Pedersen is going to win it, but the Australians will be singing because Jason Crump takes third place. Jason Crump ensures the Australians now can celebrate because they have won the World Cup. Bjarne Pedersen may have won the race for the Danes. The Swedes may have come second, but the victory is there. It's glory for Australia. They are World Cup champions, and Jason Crump, a man we've seen so much to the fore in Speedway in recent years, has once again won the World Cup for Australia with a heat to spare. Jonathan Green's in the pits.
Yeah, right here, Todd Wiltshire, who's my hero for the night. I thought the oldies weren't meant to do all this. You put in most of the work this week. Well done, you're world champion.
What a feeling. I'm 34 now, I'm the old one of the team, and mate, I don't know what to say.
Hell of a display by you guys, because you didn't start well, did it?
No, we didn't at all, and we didn't start well in Sheffield. And commiserations to Sweden, they should have done a little better out of that, but England. But I feel we deserve to win tonight.
Well, let's see if we can go and find Jason Crump, because that's the man at the moment. That, well, come with me if you can, because it's going to be pretty tough getting through here. But Jason Crump, what can you say? He's done everything tonight. And Australia, you have to say, the way they started it, you wouldn't have expected him to come through. Jason Crump is just out of the corner of my eye. Jason Crump, mate, here we go again, you've done it.
Yeah, you know, it was not quite a performance like I had last year, but proves that it's a team event, and we all chipped in well tonight, you know, and we've got the result in the end, and that's what counts.
You knew this was going to be a big year, both for you and for Australia. It's turning out both ways at the moment.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of running into a bit of form, and you know, my performance tonight didn't set the world on fire, but we had a good, solid, you know, unit, and that's what wins your team world championships, and we've done it like 3 of the last 4 years now, and we're pretty keen to keep hold of it for a while.
What was going through your mind as you were there in third place, but you didn't need to drop anywhere, but what was going through your mind in that last lap?
No, just, you know, I'm kind of a little bit disappointed, a little bit frustrated with the lack of maintenance on the track. You know, the weather hasn't been ideal. There's been very little work done on the track through the course of the evening, and right now it's really slippery and slimy, and it's hard to go anywhere when you're behind, but we've done the job, we've done what we came here to do, and it doesn't matter in what fashion you do it.
Well done again. There's one more heat to go, though, and Australia, though, are about to crank up the celebrations.
While the Australians may be celebrating, medal places are still up for grabs. Certainly the Australians here, they have 4 of the team that was victorious last year.
Yeah.
Ryan Sullivan will celebrate, everybody will celebrate, but here for the Australians, we look across the lineup here. Ryan Sullivan goes in this heat for the Australians. They're number 5.
I think the Aussies have obviously done brilliantly this evening, and they were the favourites, but I think the Danish team have surpassed themselves. They are in a good position in second place, and it will be quite a surprise for them to get the silver medal tonight.
Well, if the points are level, they have a race off, but let's see what happens here now, because Ryan Sullivan will want to celebrate this victory with a vengeance. He, of course, was a member of that team. He only changed Jason Lyons, replacing Craig Boyce from last year's final team, which won it in Poland. And here tonight, the final heat in the World Cup 2002 here at the East of England Showground. The heads are down, the tapes fly up, and away they go. And on the inside, Mikael Karlsson steals a march for the Swedes. Round the outside for the Aussies. Looking to put icing on the cake is Ryan Sullivan. Down that back straight in pursuit of the Swedes. In white there is Nicki Pedersen for Denmark. Taken wide on the inside, the pole is Krzysztof Cegielski. But the Australians are celebrating yet again, because Ryan Sullivan is extending that lead, extending the victory celebrations. A great ride by Sullivan.
Yeah, this is what we're used to from Ryan Sullivan. He came out of gate 5 and he swooped round the outside, and Nicki Pedersen there forging past Mikael Karlsson. What an effort by the Danes tonight. They have ridden out of their socks. They really have surpassed everybody's expectations of their team this evening.
Well, the Danes, we know about their effort as a team. They've done brilliantly here in the race-off. They've done brilliantly here tonight. And it looks now as if Nicki Pedersen will take the second place. That will put the Danes into second place in this World Cup here tonight. Back in third for Sweden is Mikael Karlsson. The winner undoubtedly will be Ronni Sullivan. But now we're going to see some celebrations for the Danes as well. In second place, Nicki Pedersen salutes the crowd. Third in yellow is Mikael Karlsson. Fourth in blue for the Poles, there is Krzysztof Cegielski. But what a ride by Ronni Sullivan to win it. The Danes are celebrating, though, certainly the Australian flag waving again. But I'm sure the Danes take some of the glory here for this tonight. But Ronni Sullivan, and he shakes the hands of his nearest challengers there.
That's Nicki Pedersen there, shaking the hands of Nicki Pedersen. Both of them are absolutely delighted. Ronni Sullivan, obviously, they're the world champions, but Nicki Pedersen, I think he feels like a world champion. Their team really have ridden so well tonight. All the mechanics and team members spreading out onto the track there. Jakob Olsen leading his team members out. You know, you can just see the joy and the absolute adulation that they're giving to Pedersen there. They really have ridden superbly well all week.
Well, a chance to look at the result of heat number 25, the final race of the night. And I'm sure there's all sorts of celebrations in the middle of the track. We're not seeing that at the moment. But, Australia's Ronni Sullivan 4 race points. Nicki Pedersen, Denmark 3 to clinch second place. Mikael Karlsson 2 for Sweden, 1 for Poland for Krzysztof Cegielski. A disappointing end for the Czechs. But the final result, Australia 64, Denmark 58, Sweden 54, Poland 48, the Czech Republic 36. The Australians' 5th World Cup victory. Denmark have won it 11 times in the past. They will come again. Join us after the break for the celebrations, reflections and the glory.
Welcome back. The Australians have retained their World Cup title and will very soon lift the Ovi Funding Trophy for the second time. Denmark were a fantastic second place and fighting all of the way, with Sweden third in the end, 4 points adrift. Poland, well, what about that? 48 points only for them. And the Czech Republic, 36 points. What a fantastic night we've had here at the East of England Showground. Jonathan Green's in pit lane and he's with the Sky Sports Man of the Match.
Yeah, I am, and of course, it's no surprise that it's Bjarne Pedersen, and this is the choice of Sam Omalenko and Chris Louis, but I think everybody, really. Fantastic stuff, and well done, and you deserve this bottle of bubbly. How was it for you tonight?
Okay, first I will say thank you to the guys up there, and that was fantastic. It's my biggest night in my career, so, and I'm pleased with everything. My mechanic and Danish team is fantastic team spirit.
And your celebration amongst the team, it was as though you'd won the World Cup, but it wasn't far off, was it?
No, I have a couple of good races out here tonight, so that was great, and we do it.
Nicky's just to the side of you. This is the man of the match. You must be pleased with him tonight.
It's so perfect. It's team spirit, as I told you before. When we went into the final, you know, and it's not just about one rider. It's all 5 riders being out and doing so well tonight. It's incredible.
How big is this, both of you, for Denmark? Because you guys have got such a history. You've had the most accomplished history in this sport in terms of winning. It's been a few years since you've been right up there. Are you getting there now with this team?
The thing is, you know, we've been fed up with Speedway about all the riders have been winning and winning and winning, you know. So in 3-4 years' time, definitely we'll be on top of the podium, you know, individually as well. Now we're second in the world of the team, you know, so we got a big trope like, you know, 5, 6, 7 riders going in, and we can do it now.
Well, let you celebrate, because there's more celebrations going on down here. Come with me, boys, as we find out what the world champions are about to do, which is celebrate themselves. Hang on a second. Here they are. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Oh, there they are. Well, I couldn't find them for a second. Everybody's celebrating. Guys, real quick, let's talk to Ryan. Ryan, how you doing, mate? Let me see if I can get up there. Ryan Sullivan. The rest of the boys. Fantastic.
Yeah, we're stoked, you know. They made us work hard. And,
I'm fine, don't worry about me.
All the boys deserve it, full team effort, and world champions again.
Now listen, it's been a tough year, but and a tough day too. At the beginning of the evening, you guys were looking down.
Yeah, you know, we took a lot of rain on the track again, and it proved a bit tacky for everyone, and we battled down once again and managed to get it right and kept winning races.
And what about a week for Todd Wiltshire? Superb, huh?
He's has to be the man of the moment, you know. He pulled us right through it twice now.
I'm going to let you go or I'm going to get run over, so I'm out of here. See you guys.
Well, Australia were behind until heat 9, so the fight back came fairly late on as the day goes. So the Australians are out there celebrating in front of a huge crowd here at the Eastern England Showground. And I think testament to the British crowd, the host nation this year, that even though there wasn't Team Great Britain racing today, they've supported every nation out there, as they should do, of course. 5 nations fighting well. I have to say, was it a bit of a turn-up that Denmark have come so good to finish second? I mean, they almost didn't go through after the race off. If your team, the Americans, had managed to just win, I think, one more race, they would have been in Denmark's place tonight.
Yeah, no, they did extremely well. I mean, they just used all their energy that they had and put it into the racetrack, and Bjarne really did a great job for them. I think he kind of pulled them out of trouble.
He scored 20 points tonight. He's been riding seemingly in every heat.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, the Danes somehow or another, when the tracks are a bit slick, they tend to find grip and find the forward speed that is necessary. And the track today, I'm sure Chris will agree, the track today kind of lended, it was perfect for the Danes, really.
Yeah, I think
for everybody else.
Bjarne's actually top scored in every round to get here as well. The race off and the qualifying round, he's been joint top scorer. So, you know, he's been great.